Eye-opening my eyes, head pounding like someone used it as a drum, and boom, I'm back in my old house. Alive. Again. Which is weird, because I'm pretty sure I died like 5 minutes ago. Let me back up. My name's Lin Yuan, and I just got stabbed in the back, literally, while fighting a giant demon lord called Kungazat. And the guy who did it? My own uncle, Lin Tianke. Yeah, family dinners are gonna be awkward. Oh wait, he also murdered my parents by faking a car crash 3 years ago just to steal our family company. So maybe no more family dinners at all. But here's the thing, I'm not dead anymore. I'm standing in my house, staring at a calendar that says February 7th, 2037. That's one day before the launch of Lord's Era, this insane game that literally ate the entire world. See, at first everyone thought it was just a cool video game. Build a kingdom, train soldiers, fight people, standard Tuesday. 700 million players logged in on day 1. Then after a week, nobody could log out. After a month, the game merged with reality. Your grandma, who never touched a controller, teleported straight into the game. Surprise! Nana, here's a sword. I spent 3 years in that hellhole. There were 3 major seasons of chaos. First, all the players fighting each other for land like it was Black Friday at a furniture store. Second, demons from the abyss showed up and started eating everyone. Third, and this is where it gets really fun, aliens from other planets joined the party. Turns out Earth wasn't the only planet getting trolled by this game. The alien lords basically treated us like a loot piñata. I was one of China's top 10 lords, by the way. Pretty big deal. And I died trying to save humanity. You're welcome, everyone. Except nobody will thank me because my uncle literally shanked me mid-boss fight and ruined everything. But now, I'm back. With 3 years of future knowledge crammed in my brain and revenge burning a hole in my chest. And here's where it gets beautiful. This game lets you preload money before launch, with no spending limit. After launch, you can only dump in 1 million a day. But before? Sky's the limit. Last time, idiot past me only put in 10 million and still became a top 10 lord. I've been kicking myself about that ever since. So what did I do? I grabbed my phone and called my butler. Yes, I have a butler. I'm rich. My dad ran the Lin Corporation. We're talking small country GDP levels of rich. I told Butlerly, sell everything. The stocks, the company shares, the sports cars, the fancy watches, the antiques. I don't care if you sell them cheap. I need cash and I need it now. You have 12 hours. Poor guy probably thought I'd been kidnapped. But he's loyal, been with my family since forever, so he gotta work. Here's my logic. In 1 month, money becomes toilet paper anyway because reality merges with the game. And honestly, even as toilet paper, cash would be too stiff. Uncomfortable. 0 stars. So I pulled an all-nighter signing contracts and watching my entire fortune convert into cold, hard, usable cash. By morning, I had a stack of bank cards sitting in front of me with a combined total of, wait for it, 1 billion. 10 digits. 10 beautiful, fat digits. And I'm sitting here now, watching the clock, waiting. 5 hours until the game launches. Once it hits 3 hours to go, I'm dumping every last penny into this game. Last life, I was a top 10 lord with pocket change. This life, I'm going in with 1 billion and a grudge. Uncle Tianke, demons, aliens, you all better start running. The most overfunded, overprepared, unreasonably petty lord in human history is coming back for round 2. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I sat there staring at the clock like a psycho waiting for Black Friday doors to open, except instead of a flat-screen TV, I was about to buy an entire civilization. 2 o'clock hit. Go time. I grabbed my stack of bank cards. Yes, stack, plural, and started pumping money into the game. The catch? Each transaction maxes out at 1 million. I had 1 billion to deposit. Quick math, that's 1,000 transactions. My fingers were about to run a marathon. This is why I gave myself exactly 3 hours. Not more, not less. See, there's a leaderboard that shows everyone how much you've preloaded, and I didn't want to show my hand too early. Rich people are like sharks. They smell money in the water and start competing just because their ego told them to. Before I started, I peeked at the leaderboard. Number 1 was some Arab guy sitting at 60 million. Respect to the oil money, honestly. 2 Chinese players cracked the top 10, one at 30 million, another at 43 million. Everyone had their names hidden, only showing their nationality. Smart move. I did the same. The comment section was already on fire. People were losing their minds over 60 million like it was the GDP of a small island. Someone said they were still debating whether to add an egg to their breakfast crepe while these whales were tossing millions at a game that hadn't even launched yet. Another guy asked if the rich players' families needed a pet dog because their dog probably eats better than him. Comedy gold. Little did they know, I was about to commit financial violence. I started clicking. Input card number. Input password. 1 million. Confirm. Fingerprint. Done. Next card. Repeat. I became a human printing press. A money depositing robot. My brain shut off and my fingers took over. 1 hour later, 400 million deposited. The comment section exploded. Is that 400 million? Am I reading this right? Who is this person? They're making our whole country proud. That's more than everyone else on the leaderboard combined. The former number one panicked and topped up to 100 million. Cute. That's like bringing a water pistol to a tsunami. Hour 2, 700 million. The Arab guy pushed to 150 million and then just stopped. I think he decided I was clinically insane and backed off. Smart man. You don't compete with crazy. Now here's something funny. My little spending spree actually created a butterfly effect. In my past life, nobody even broke 50 million in pre-launch deposits. But this time, watching me go absolutely feral with my wallet. Every whale on the leaderboard panic charged past 50 million just to keep up. Honestly, they should be sending me thank you cards. I basically bullied them into making the best financial decision of their lives. The clock kept ticking. My fingers kept clicking. 4:55 p.m. Final number on screen, 1 billion. 5 minutes before launch. Every single penny, deposited. The comments section had basically flatlined. People weren't even roaring anymore. They were just numb. Like watching someone eat 100 hot dogs and then ask for dessert. There's a point where admiration turns into genuine concern for someone's mental health. And I had blown past that point about 600 million ago. My entire body felt like I'd been through a boxing match. 3 straight hours of rapid-fire card swiping will do that to you. My fingers were practically filing a lawsuit against my brain. I dragged my aching carcass into my gaming pod, top of the line, stellar class, model, by the way, because if you're going to disappear into a virtual world, do it in style. The thing even comes with nutrient fluid that can keep a person alive for a full month. Which is convenient, since in exactly 1 month, the game swallows reality anyway. I lay back. The countdown began. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My consciousness got yoinked out of my body like a tablecloth trick, and suddenly I was floating above an endless continent. Mountains stretching to the horizon. Cities dotting the landscape. Humans, undead, elves, orcs, demons, all coexisting in the most chaotic neighborhood ever imagined. The eternal continent. Beautiful. Terrifying. Home sweet home. Again. Even seeing it for the second time, I still got chills. Next step, character creation. And if I remember correctly, this is exactly where my billion starts doing the talking. Enter your character name. I thought about it for a second and went with Lin Yuan. Same name as real life. Same name as last life. Call it branding. Call it laziness. Either way, it's iconic. Next up, pick a race. Human, ghost, beast, elf, or demon. Everyone and their mother thinks humans are boring. No flashy powers, no cool horns, no pointy ears. Just people. But here's the thing nobody figures out until way too late. Humans are the ultimate late-game monsters. Slow start, but the growth curve is absolutely disgusting. I've seen the endgame. Humans slap. Trust me. Human, I said, zero hesitation. Then came the fun part, pulling my starter hero. Think of it like a gacha lottery, except your entire future depends on it. White flash of light. Dramatic sound effect. And I got E-rank hero, farmer leader, Kinrak, a farmer. My starter hero is literally a farmer. His only skill is making crops grow 10% better. The community calls him King of the Peasants, and that is not a compliment. I've been reborn with 3 years of future knowledge and $1 billion in the bank, and the universe opens by handing me a guy with a hoe. But no worries. For 10,000 gold, which equals 10,000 real dollars, I can re-roll. For a normal person, that's painful. For me, that's a rounding error. Reroll number 2. E-rank hero, sharpshooter, Clark, garbage. And so began the most expensive slot machine session in human history. C-rank, E-rank, C-rank, B-rank. 100 pulls later, 1 million gone, and the best I got was a lousy B rank. My luck wasn't just bad. It was historically, legendarily, comically bad. If bad luck was a sport, I'd be Olympic champion. I refuse to believe I can't pull an A rank, I muttered through clenched teeth. Keep going. Pull 200. Pull 300. Pull 500. Nothing. Then, on pull 537, purple light. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. A-rank hero, soul of flame, Lirvis, finally. After $5 million of pure suffering. Lirvis was actually pretty solid. Group fire magic, great for early game farming. Most people would have fallen to their knees and accepted him with tears of joy. But did I pick him? No. No, I did not. Because deep in my memory, there was one hero I actually wanted. A hero I'd seen in my past life. Someone so absurdly powerful that settling for anything less would haunt me forever. So I hit skip on my A-rank fire mage and kept gambling. The universe immediately punished me. 1,000 more pulls without a single A-rank. Not one. The game was basically laughing in my face. I could practically hear the gacha gods sipping tea and watching me suffer. Pull 1,891. A-rank, Forest Maiden Leah. Nope. She's an elf specialist, useless for humans. Skip. Pull 2,345. A-rank, Desert Heart Sagat. Meh. Skip. Pull 2,777. A-rank, Imperial Shield Duragang. Worse than Lirvis. Skip. Pull 3,444. A-rank, Lady Doom Jinduo. Even worse. Skip. 3,000 pulls deep. Over 30 million spent. I was starting to question my entire life philosophy. Every A-rank hero I pulled was somehow lamer than the last one. It's like the game was intentionally trolling me. Oh, you skipped the fire mage? Here, have this guy whose special move is standing still with a shield. You're welcome. I made myself a promise. The next usable A-rank, I'm taking it. No more being picky. I've already wasted enough time that other players have probably built entire kingdoms while I'm sitting here pressing a button like a lab rat. Pull 4,000. 5,000. Nothing but B ranks and disappointment. I was genuinely about to cry. A grown man, heir to a billion-dollar fortune, almost brought to tears by a cartoon slot machine. Then, pull 5,135. Purple light. A-rank hero, sealed sword. Artoria, I froze. Then I started grinning like an absolute maniac. Artoria, the one I wanted. The one I'd been chasing this whole time through over $50 million worth of rerolls. See, on paper she looks like a regular A-rank. But that's because her weapon is sealed. There's a hidden quest, ridiculously difficult, almost nobody even knows it exists, and if you complete it, her seal breaks. And when that seal breaks, she doesn't go to S-rank. She doesn't go to SS-RANK. She goes straight to SSS-RANK. The absolute peak. The tippy top. The I am become death, destroyer of leaderboards, tier. 5,000 pulls. 51 million spent. 3 years of future knowledge guiding every decision. Totally worth it. 50 million down the drain on gacha pulls, and I regret nothing. I got Artoria, my future SSS-RANK queen. Worth every single penny. In my past life, as one of China's top 10 lords, my best hero only reached SS-RANK. Artoria is going to surpass that. Once I unlock her sealed sword, anyway. But that quest is way too hard for me right now. Baby steps. She knelt before me in shining silver armor, gorgeous face looking up, and said, "My lord, Artoria is at your service, ma'am. I spent 50 million to find you. You better be." Next thing I knew, whoosh, I got teleported to an empty field. My kingdom. My empire. My dirt patch. A little pop-up appeared. This land is fertile. Build here? Obviously yes. A wooden shack poofed into existence. That's my lord's manor. My palace. It looked like something a raccoon would reject. But hey, everyone starts somewhere. Napoleon probably had a shed phase too. I checked my resources. In this game, there are 5 types: food, wood, stone, iron, and silver. I had 10,000 of each. Enough for a careful, budget-conscious leader to slowly develop a thriving settlement. I am not that leader. First thing I built? A shop. Cost me some food, wood, and stone, and it popped up in like 15 seconds. The shop sells all kinds of useful stuff that refreshes every 24 hours. Higher level shop means better items. I opened it up and my eyes went straight to the resource packs. Basic pack, 10,000 random resources for 100 gold. Mid-tier pack, 50,000 random resources for 500 gold. Premium pack, 100,000 resources you get to choose for 1,200 gold. Remember, 1 gold equals 1 real dollar. And I have a billion of those. So naturally, I bought all of them. 100 basic packs, 50 mid-tier packs, 10 premium packs. Grand total, 47,000 gold. That's like finding loose change in my couch cushions. I wanted to buy more, but I literally emptied the entire shop. There was nothing left. Cleaned out. I stood there, wallet in hand, desperate to spend money, with nowhere to spend it. Do you know how frustrating it is to be too rich for the store? It's like showing up to an all-you-can-eat buffet, and they ran out of food after your first plate. But wait, there was other stuff too. Worker permits that let me hire extra builders for 3 days, 10,000 gold each. Harvest cards that boost farm output by 20% for a week, 5,000 gold. Experience potions for heroes, about 7,000 gold a pop. And then, sitting there like a diamond in a pile of rocks. Random strategic treasure chest. Opens into equipment ranging from iron tier to gold tier. Price? 150,000 gold per box. See, in this game, strategic treasures are basically gear for heroes. Each hero can equip 5 pieces, and with top-tier equipment, even a B-rank hero can fight in S-rank. Equipment is that important. Did I hesitate? Reader, I did not. I bought 20 chests. 3 million gold, gone in a blink. Shop completely emptied. Again, for the second time in 5 minutes, I had bankrupted an entire store. At this point, the shop probably needed therapy. I couldn't buy anything else until tomorrow's refresh, but by then I'd have leveled the shop up so it stocks even better items. The cycle of spending continues. The rich get richer, and the shop gets emptier. Sometimes having too much money and nowhere to spend it is genuinely painful. First world problems don't even begin to cover it. This is like Zeroth world problems. Anyway, I had 20 treasure chests sitting in my inventory, and Artoria needed a full set of 5 equipment pieces. Time to start unboxing. My future SSS rank hero deserves drip. You can't save the world looking basic. Let's see how many gold tier pieces these 20 boxes can cough up. 20 treasure chests. Let's see what Santa brought me. First box, Golden Light. On the very first pull, after 5,000 hero rerolls of pure misery, the universe apparently decided it owed me one. Out popped the Lionheart King's pendant. Gold tier, plus 25 strength, plus 25 agility, and a special skill that buffs all human troops by 15% across the board for 3 minutes. For a human race lord like me, that's not a necklace. That's a cheat code you wear around your neck. Feeling lucky, I ripped through the remaining 19 boxes like a kid on Christmas morning who's been told everything is from the expensive store. Final tally, 8 iron tier pieces of actual garbage, a rusty sword, and a moldy robe. Thanks, really feeling the love. 5 bronze tier items, for silver tier items, and 3 gold tier pieces. Now, gear in this game goes from iron all the way up to mythic across 9 tiers. On day 1, gold tier is basically legendary, and I had 3 of them. I suited up Artoria immediately. 3 gold pieces, the Lionheart pendant, a burning gem, and obsidian battle armor. 2 silver pieces, a frost ring, and a glory shield. Full set. Complete loadout. On launch day, while most players were still figuring out which button opens their inventory, my hero was dressed like she was heading to a final boss fight. This is what a perfect start looks like. Take notes. I couldn't sit still anymore. I left my construction workers with a to-do list and marched Artoria straight into the forest outside my territory. Time to test drive this murder machine. Sure enough, 5 gray wolves came creeping toward us. Tier 1 monsters. Bottom of the food chain. The tutorial enemies that exist purely so new players feel good about themselves. Artoria stepped in front of me. My lord, I'll protect you. Ma'am, those wolves should be the ones asking for protection. I waved my hand casually. Go ahead. Kill them all. She moved so fast, she literally became a blur. One sword swing. 1. And all 5 wolves lost their heads simultaneously. Their bodies hadn't even hit the ground before the loot notifications started flooding my screen. 5 wolves. 1/0 effort. It was like sending a tank to squash ants. Let's go deeper, I told her. Why waste time on appetizers? We plowed into the forest like a lawn mower through wet grass. Everything that showed up died. Wolves, goblins, whatever. Nothing lasted more than a swing. In less than 30 minutes, Artoria hit level 4 with stats climbing through the roof. Meanwhile, over on the world chat, everyone else was having a very different experience. Brothers, I pulled a B-rank starter hero. What about you guys? Bro, I reset 20 times and only got a B rank. I'm gonna be sick. 20 resets. That's 200,000. You're loaded. 200,000 is loaded? I reset 1,500 times and got an A rank Water Empress. All hail the whale. And then, the best part. Guys, the wilderness is terrifying. My D rank hero can't even beat the weakest monster. Same. My dwarf warrior got eaten alive by wolves. He respawned, but his loyalty dropped like crazy. Don't talk about it. Us regular players need to train some soldiers before we even think about going outside. I read all of this with the biggest grin on my face. These poor souls were getting bullied by starter wolves while my Artoria was deep in the forest speedrunning her way to level 5, wearing gold tier armor, one-shotting everything with eyes. This life is going to be different. No betrayals. No dying at the finish line. No uncle stabbing me in the back during the final boss fight. This time, I'm writing the story. And it's going to have a much better ending. One more wolf kill, and, ding, Artoria hit level 5. White light, level up, the whole fireworks show. I smiled at her. How you feeling? She blushed. Actually blushed. It's an honor to follow you, my lord. Her loyalty ticked up to 81. Good. See, in this game, loyalty is everything. Above 80, your hero won't betray you. Below 60, they might stab you during a bad day. Above 95, ride or die forever. Oh, and fun fact from my past life. Some genius once tried to force his female hero to, spend the night with him. Her loyalty cratered instantly. She didn't just leave him. She cut off his, let's call it his, sword. After that incident, every player in the game collectively learned that these heroes are not just mindless NPCs. They think, they feel, they have opinions, and apparently, they carry very sharp weapons near sensitive areas. Anyway, Artoria also unlocked her first skill at level 5, Holy Light Triple Slash. 3 consecutive strikes at 150% damage each, with double damage against dark creatures. Most A-rank heroes don't learn their first skill until level 10. She got hers at 5, because she's not really A-rank. She's S-rank in disguise. Built different. I pulled up her stats and nearly choked. 1,600 health. Attack power up to 430. 170 defense. These numbers were obscene for a level 5 hero on day 1. She was basically a walking war crime. Then Artoria tapped my shoulder. My lord, there's a large group of wolves ahead. I looked where she was pointing. Over 100 gray wolves, all clustered together. And sitting right in the middle of them, a wolf twice the size of the others, fur like steel needles, eyes glowing blood red. Mutant Wolf King. Silver tier boss. Level 5. 12,000 HP. Now, normally, you'd need about 1,000 soldiers to take down a silver boss. I had 0 soldiers. Just me. A squishy lord with no combat ability, and one very well-dressed swordswoman. Going back for troops meant the boss might wander off. This was a now or never moment. I looked at Artoria. Can you handle it? She didn't even hesitate. I won't let you down. That's my girl. I sent her around the edge of the pack first, picking off stragglers. She carved through regular wolves like a hot knife through butter, one swing, one dead wolf, repeat. After she mowed down about 20 of them, the big boy finally noticed. The Wolf King roared and charged. The remaining wolves surrounded Artoria from all sides. Did she panic? Absolutely not. She danced through that wolf tornado like it was choreographed, slicing heads off left and right while dodging the king's massive claws. Every time she landed a hit on the boss, minus 356, chunks of health just evaporated. 12,000, 9,000, 6,000, 3,000. Then at 3,000 HP, the Wolf King went berserk. Eyes turned full red, body swelled up even bigger, and it launched a mega attack. Wolf King's Claw. So fast Artoria couldn't dodge. But guess what? My silver tier glory shield triggered automatically, popping a magic barrier right in front of her face. The claw shattered the shield, but did 0 damage. Equipment doing equipment things. This is why you spend 3 million on treasure chests, people. While the Wolf King was still recovering, Artoria activated the Frost Ring's special ability, Ice Prison. The boss's legs froze solid to the ground. Couldn't move, just standing there like a very angry, very fluffy ice sculpture. Then she unleashed Holy Light Triple Slash. Her sword lit up like a lightsaber, and she swung 3 times so fast my eyes couldn't track it. Minus 579. Minus 597. Minus 633. Nearly 2,000 damage in one combo. The Wolf King's remaining health bar melted like ice cream in July. A few more regular swings, and boom, the mutant Wolf King collapsed. Dead. Less than a minute total. Loot exploded everywhere. Wolf King's heart, a wolf fong necklace, a gray wolf knight summoning scroll, and 2,000 experience points for both me and Artoria. She rocketed straight to level 7. Then the world announcement hit. Chinese player Lin Yuan has achieved the first silver boss kill. Rewards: 3 gold tier treasure chests, 10 premium resource packs, 100 equipment enhancement stones, 1 hero recruitment token. The entire world chat lost its collective mind. What? I can't even beat regular wolves, and someone's killing bosses. Those first kill rewards are insane. I'm so jealous I could cry. Who is this Lin Yuan guy? He's a monster. He's Chinese. Making our whole country proud. Cute girl here, seeking Lin Yuan's protection. Ooh, bro, calm down. That cute girl probably has a bigger sword than you. I read the chat and grinned. While the entire server was getting bullied by starter wolves, I just soloed the first silver boss with a secret S-rank hero wearing gold tier armor. Day 1 isn't even over yet, and I'm already making history. The world announcement went out, and I knew every player on the server was either jealous, furious, or both. Did I care? Not even a little. I'm a reborn billionaire with a secret S-rank hero. Come at me. Time to check my loot haul. The Wolf King dropped a wolf fong necklace, silver tier, decent, but nothing special since Artoria's already dripping in gold gear. The first kill rewards were way juicier. 3 random gold tier treasure chests, 10 premium resource packs, 100 equipment enhancement stones, and the real prizes, a hero recruitment token and a gray wolf knight summoning scroll. The hero recruitment token was tempting. Use 1 and you get a random B rank or higher hero. Collect 10 of them and you've got a 50% shot at an S-rank hero. But using just 1? The odds of getting anything useful were terrible. I already had Artoria. Recruiting some random B rank would be like buying a bicycle when you own a Ferrari. I'll save these tokens and collect the full set. The Wolf Knight scroll, though? Used it immediately. Flash, 50 tier 2 gray wolf knights materialized in front of me. Actual cavalry units, sitting on wolves, holding weapons, ready to fight. Not amazing, but way better than the tier 1 militia trash most players were working with. 3 of these guys could kill a regular wolf without breaking a sweat. I pointed Artoria toward the forest. Take these wolf riders and keep hunting. Don't come back until you hit level 10. She dropped to one knee, sword planted in the ground. As you command, my king. Then she stood up and led 50 wolf cavalry into the woods like some kind of medieval action movie poster. Absolutely magnificent. Here's the beautiful thing. Soldiers can't level up from kills, but all their combat experience feeds directly to the hero commanding them. So Artoria basically had 50 little experience farming minions doing bonus damage while she got all the XP credit. It's like having 50 interns do your homework while you collect the diploma. They absolutely demolished that forest. Every creature in there got the Artoria special, violent, and immediate retirement. 3 hours later, ding. Level 10. New skill unlocked. Knight's Spirit. Activates 50% morale boost and 30% stat increase for all human troops under her command. Lasts 30 minutes. 12-hour cooldown. I nearly fell over. This skill was broken. Holy Light Triple Slash was great for single targets, sure. But Knight's Spirit buffed my entire army. And since I picked the human race, literally every soldier I'd ever recruit would benefit. Morale boosts mean fewer deserters and more critical hits. Stat boosts mean everything hits harder, moves faster, and dies less. This one skill basically turned Artoria into a walking military steroid. S-rank hero things. You wouldn't understand. All right, that's enough grinding. Let's head back, I told her. Hero levels could wait. Right now, building up my territory was priority number one. When I got home, the construction workers had been busy. My sad little dirt patch now had actual buildings. A farmhouse for recruiting farmers, a militia camp for basic soldiers, and a tavern for recruiting heroes and picking up quests. Spearmen and archer camps were still under construction. Once they finished, I could start training Tier 2 troops. Now, I'll be honest, human race early game military is embarrassing. Farmers and militia are basically walking punching bags. Spearmen and archers are slightly better punching bags. Every other race has cooler stuff at the start. But that's fine, because later, Tier 7 griffins, Tier 9 archangels. That's when humans stop being the nerdy kid and become the final boss. Patience pays off. Besides, weak early game is a problem for people who didn't preload $1 billion gold. Money fixes everything. But then my eyes landed on the tavern, and a memory hit me like a truck. In my past life, I'd heard about a special hidden quest tied to a mysterious NPC who appears in the tavern during early game. If you know the exact method, and almost nobody does, you can get a special treasure from them. The method to complete it? So ridiculous that when I first heard about it in my previous life, I was genuinely speechless. Like, whoever designed this quest was either a genius or completely unhinged. But I know the full process now. Every step, every trick. I started walking toward the tavern with the energy of a man who knows exactly which floorboard the treasure is buried under. Hidden quest, here I come. I walked into the tavern, and honestly, it felt like stepping into a real medieval pub. Loud conversations, clinking glasses, the smell of cheap booze. The game designers really nailed the sketchy bar atmosphere. The tavern has two sections. First, a quest board that posts daily missions ranging from easy to literal hell. I glanced at it. Mostly gray easy quests, a few white normal ones, and a single purple difficult quest out of 20. The odds of getting good quests were about as generous as my gacha luck. Which is to say, terrible. Second section, the hero recruitment counter, where you can spend silver to summon heroes. A low-level tavern only refreshes 5 heroes per day, and most of them are B rank or lower. Getting an A rank from here would require your ancestors to personally intervene from the afterlife. But I wasn't here for quests or heroes. I was here for him. I scanned the room and spotted my target. A brown-haired man sitting alone, drinking. The most average-looking dude you've ever seen. Generic face, forgettable hair, the kind of guy who'd blend into wallpaper. But his eyes? Sneaky, like a fox who just learned poker. I sat down across from him and ordered 2 rum drinks. Classic move. He looked up, surprised. You're buying me a drink? Drinking alone is boring, don't you think? He drained his glass and grinned. True, but just drinking is also boring. How about a little gamble? And there it was. Hidden quest, triggered. See, I knew exactly what this guy was about. In my past life, this NPC scammed thousands of players out of their gold. Everyone hated him. The game was simple. Flip a coin, guess heads or tails. If you win, he gives you his family heirloom. If you lose, you pay him 1,000 gold. 1,000 real dollars per loss. Sounds fair, right? Wrong. Because his family heirlooms were absolute garbage. Broken watches, rusty junk, things you wouldn't pick up off the street. And the coin flip? Somehow you always lost more than you won. The man was a professional con artist disguised as an NPC. But I knew his secret. Something almost no player ever figured out. Deal, I said without hesitation. First flip. Heads, I called. He lifted his hand. Tails. Too bad. I tossed him a bag of 1,000 gold coins like it was pocket lint. Again, lost. Again, lost. Again, lost. Again, lost. 5 times in a row. My luck was so comically bad that if there was a hall of fame for losing coin flips, they'd name a wing after me. 6th flip, finally got one right. He sighed dramatically and handed me his precious family treasure, a broken old pocket watch. Description, a dirty, old pocket watch. Appears to be an antique. I almost burst out laughing. This was his treasured heirloom. This man looked me dead in the eyes and called a piece of junk his family legacy. The audacity, the sheer shamelessness. I respected it, honestly, but I kept playing. Because the secret isn't about winning once. It's about winning a specific number of times. The gambling continued. Flip after flip after flip. My win rate was hilariously bad, 37 wins out of 100 attempts. That's a 63% loss rate on a 50-50 game. This coin was absolutely rigged, and we both knew it, but neither of us was going to say it out loud. Half an hour in, I'd burned through over 60,000 gold in losses. My winnings were a pile of useless junk with zero stats. Any normal player would have flipped the table by now. Literally flipped it. Grabbed this smug NPC by his brown curly hair and demanded a refund. But I just kept going. Calm. Patient. Clicking through losses like a man on a mission. Because I am a man on a mission. Win 53. Win 72. Win 87. Win 99. 99 wins. It cost me nearly 200,000 gold to get here. 200,000 real dollars. On coin flips. Against a cheating NPC. In a video game. If my past self could see me now, he'd either be impressed or calling a therapist. Then the brown-haired con artist leaned forward, eyes gleaming, and said the words I'd been waiting for. You know what? You're quite the gambler yourself. How about we raise the stakes? One more flip. Same rules, heads or tails. But this time, he paused for dramatic effect, the theatrical little weasel. That we bet 1 million gold. 1 million gold per flip. That's a whole apartment in some cities. Gone in 10 seconds on a coin toss. Most players would have heard that number and sprinted out of the tavern so fast they'd leave a cartoon dust cloud. But me? I leaned back and said, sure, first flip at the new stakes. I called heads. It was tails. 1 million, poof. Gone. Second flip. Lost. Third flip. Lost. Fourth, fifth, sixth, all losses. In under 10 minutes, I'd hemorrhaged 10 million gold. This cheating little weasel's magic coin was hitting me with a 100% loss rate. Every single flip landed opposite to whatever I called. The coin wasn't just rigged, it was personally offended by me. But here's the thing. I didn't flinch. Not once. Because I knew his secret. That coin. It's enchanted. As long as he flips it, he literally cannot lose. Every player who ever sat at this table got scammed into oblivion because nobody figured that part out. In my past life, some Middle Eastern billionaire blew 50 million before he cracked the code. 50 million. And people thought I was reckless. So on the next round, I reached across the table and snatched the coin right out of his hand. My turn to flip, I said. You guess. The smug grin on his face froze solid, like someone unplugged him. I held the coin up, flicked it into the air, caught it on the back of my hand, and started talking. Nice and slow. Casual. You know what sunk cost is? It's when you've already lost so much that walking away feels impossible. Most people spiral because of it. They keep doubling down, chasing losses, hoping the next flip saves them. I smiled at him. But here's my situation. I don't care about sunk cost. 1 million gold is pocket change to me. If I lose this one, I'll play again. And again. And again. I will sit at this table until the sun burns out. I have 1 billion gold and absolutely zero quit in me. So tell me. Heads or tails? He stared at me for a long moment. Then he sighed, shook his head, and said the most beautiful words I've ever heard from an NPC. I lose. Even if I win this round, you'd beat me eventually. So, these are yours. He tossed me 2 items. A mask and a ring. The deceiver's mask lets the wearer change their face and race with 0 flaws. Complete, undetectable disguise. Want to infiltrate an elf kingdom as an elf? Done. Want to sneak into a demon fortress looking like a demon? Easy. This thing was basically a cheat code for espionage. The gambler's ring, plus 10 to luck stat, belonged to a gambler who never lost. Still had bloodstains on it. Charming. For roughly 10 million gold. Which sounds like a lot until you remember I loaded 1 billion. I walked away with 2 items that, in my past life, turned a random Middle Eastern whale into one of the most powerful lords on the entire planet. Except he spent 50 million figuring out the trick. I spent 10 million already knowing it. Efficiency, baby. Oh, and the best part? This hidden quest is a one-time only event across all servers. Now that I've completed it, this brown-haired con artist will never appear in any player's tavern ever again. That Middle Eastern billionaire? In this timeline, he'll walk into his tavern, look around, and find absolutely nothing. Sorry, bro. I got here first. As I left, the gambler patted my shoulder and said, looking forward to meeting you again. Then he vanished. Nobody in my past life ever figured out who he truly was. Some said he was just a scammer. Others believed he was the god of deception walking among mortals. Honestly, given the audacity of his scam operation, the god theory tracks. I stepped outside and found my territory had been busy while I was gambling away millions. The spearman camp and archer camp were both finished. One small problem. At level 1, they only produced 20 spearmen and 10 archers per week. And recruiting costs resources. Did I care about the cost? Do I even need to answer that? I recruited every single soldier available immediately. 20 spearmen, 10 archers. Didn't even bother with the Tier 1 militia. Those guys are so useless they'd lose a fight to an aggressive squirrel. Next priority, upgrading my city hall. It's the master building. Everything else's level is capped by it. City hall level 1 means nothing else can go past level 1. I need to push it to level 3 because that's when I unlock the ability to build an auction house. An auction house means free trade with other players. And free trade, when you're the richest person in the game by approximately 950 million gold, means I can basically become the economy. Buy anything, sell anything, control everything. The money printer is about to go brrrr. Building upgrades take time, and time is the one thing money can't speed up right now. Getting my city hall to level 3? 3 whole days without a construction speed-up card. I'm a billionaire, and I'm stuck waiting like everyone else. This is what suffering feels like. But I wasn't about to sit around twiddling my thumbs for 3 days staring at a wooden shack slowly leveling up. I had an army now, a small, adorable, baby army, but still an army. First order of business. I popped into the tavern and recruited 2 C-rank heroes. Steel Fist Body, a mountain of a man, nearly 2 meters tall, built like an angry refrigerator. And Hawk Beauty Ivy, tall, bronze skin, dangerous curves, the kind of woman who looks like she could snap your neck and then model for a magazine cover about it. Together they cost me 120,000 silver. Bargain heroes. Disposable scouts. Because there was no way I was sending Artoria, my secret S-rank queen, on boring exploration duty. That's like using a Ferrari to deliver pizza. My lord level only let me command 3 heroes max. Otherwise I would have hired a whole squad of discount adventurers. I split my forces. Body got 20 spearmen and 10 wolf riders. Sent him east. Ivy got 20 wolf riders and 10 archers. Sent her west. Simple instructions. Find resource points. Claim them. If something looks too scary, come back and tell me. Daddy will handle it. Then I waited. And waited. And waited. 1 hour. 2 hours. 3 hours. 5 hours. I got so bored I literally took a nap inside my wooden city hall. A billionaire lord, sleeping on what was probably a dirt floor, in a shack, in a video game. Peak luxury. Finally, both scouts returned at the same time. Body went first. My lord, we claimed a lumber mill, a farmland, and an iron mine. Also, 50 militia were so impressed by your reputation that they joined us. Not bad. 3 resource points, generating materials around the clock. An early game farm alone pumps out 20,000 food per day. In a world where everyone's scraping for resources, that's like finding an ATM in the wilderness. Normally I'd station guards at each point, but my army was too small for that. If anyone tried to steal them though, well, they'd learn a very expensive lesson about messing with the wrong lord. Then I turned to Ivy. What about you? She took a deep breath. Not a good sign. We found a gold mine, my lord. But it seems to be cursed. Everyone I sent inside never came back. Not one. Not even a message. I noticed her squad was definitely shorter than when she left. A few soldiers had gone into that mine and just vanished. Like socks in a dryer. Gone forever. A cursed gold mine, huh? I rubbed my chin thoughtfully, but inside I was doing cartwheels. Because I knew exactly what this was. This wasn't just a curse mine. This was a dungeon. Ivy led me to the entrance, and the moment I stepped close, a selection panel popped up in my face. Death Gold Mine. Once a prosperous mine, a catastrophic collapse buried hundreds of workers alive. Their restless spirits became undead, slaughtering anyone who enters to share their eternal grave. Difficulty options: easy, normal, hard, nightmare, hell. A dungeon. On day 1, Ivy accidentally stumbled into a full-blown dungeon while scouting, and she didn't even realize it. Her lost soldiers walked straight into a death trap, thinking it was just a spooky cave. Poor guys basically knocked on the door of a haunted house and said, "Anyone home?" The undead said, Yes, and it was over. From my past life, I knew that high-difficulty dungeon rewards were absolutely insane. Some items you could get from dungeons didn't exist anywhere else in the entire game. One of a kind treasures that could reshape a lord's entire trajectory. I stared at the difficulty options. Easy, boring, normal, waste of time, hard, please, nightmare, getting warmer, hell difficulty. Now that's what I'm talking about. I jabbed the hell button without a second thought. My whole squad was probably looking at me like I'd lost my mind. Day 1 of the game, barely any troops. Choosing the maximum difficulty dungeon that's full of vengeful undead spirits. But they didn't know what I knew. And Artoria's sword, plus my beautiful gold tier equipment set, was about to turn these ghosts into experience points. Time to go mining. For glory. Hell difficulty. Let's go. The mine exhaled cold wind at us like it was trying to scare us away. Cute. I waved my hand and said, move out, like I do this every day. Which, in my past life, I kind of did. Inside, it was dark. Like, can't see your own hand, dark. 2 spearmen held torches up front while the rest of us followed. Very horror movie. 0 stars for ambience. Then we heard groaning. Shuffling. The unmistakable sound of things that should be dead but weren't. Zombies. Tier 2 undead miners, still wearing their hard hats, still carrying pickaxes. Apparently dying in a cave collapse wasn't enough. They had to keep working in the afterlife too. Even death can't free you from your job. Relatable, honestly. Artoria charged in sword first and started chopping through them like vegetables at a cooking show. Level 10, gold tier gear, S-rank stats. These zombies might as well have been made of wet paper. The spearmen and wolf riders followed her lead. Archers in the back rained arrows into the crowd. Even my 2 budget C-rank heroes, Body and Ivy, were pulling their weight. Wave 1, destroyed. We pushed deeper. Wave 2, Wave 3, more zombies, easy work. Then Wave 4 brought ghosts. Tier 3 specters that moved terrifyingly fast and had claws that could shred flesh like tissue paper. Several of my wolf riders got torn apart before we adjusted. But ghosts have one fatal flaw. They're made of glass. 2 solid hits, and they pop like soap bubbles. Scary offense, 0 defense. The combat equivalent of a chihuahua with a knife. Did I lose some soldiers? Sure. Did I care? Not really. Soldiers exist to die usefully. That's the job. Lords who get emotionally attached to every single grunt and try to keep everyone alive are the ones who lose wars. I'm not running a daycare. I'm running an empire. Artoria kept doing Artoria things, slicing ghosts mid-air, tanking hits that would have killed anything else, looking impossibly cool while doing it. Without her, my little squad would have been ghost food 3 rooms ago. By Wave 5, I figured we were near the end. Beginner dungeons on hell difficulty usually cap at 5 waves before the boss. So whatever was next would be the final fight. We pushed through the last tunnel and emerged into a massive underground cavern. Not a natural cave. This thing had been renovated. Support beams, carved walls, the works. Miners must have discovered it and turned it into some kind of underground hall before they all died horribly. Great interior design. Terrible safety record. Artoria whispered, "Should I scout ahead, my lord?" Nah. I grabbed a random wolf rider and handed him a torch. You go. Sorry, buddy. Better you than my S-rank queen. The wolf rider charged in, torch blazing, and the firelight revealed what was waiting inside. My stomach dropped. The entire hall was packed wall to wall with skeletons, zombies, and ghosts. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. An undead army just standing there in the dark, waiting for someone dumb enough to walk in. And in the center of it all, a dragon. A skeletal dragon. No flesh. No skin. Just enormous white bones assembled into the shape of a nightmare. A Tier 9 skeleton dragon. One of the highest level undead creatures in the entire game. For context, my best hero is level 10. My troops are Tier 2. A Tier 9 dragon is the kind of thing that in-game players form raid parties to fight. It could sneeze and accidentally wipe my entire army. Even Artoria, my secret weapon, my gold-geared queen, had absolutely 0 chance against that thing. It would swat her like a bug. My face went dark. This was not what I expected from a beginner dungeon. Hell difficulty really meant hell. But then, just as I was calculating how fast we could run, my eye caught something in the corner of the cavern. A chest. Pitch black. Radiating an aura of death. Sitting right there. In the corner, behind an army of undead and a dragon made of bones. Of course, the treasure was in the most suicidal location possible. Why would it be easy? Why would anything in this game ever be easy? I stared at the chest. The chest stared back. Between us stood approximately one extinction-level dragon and 1,000 angry dead people. This was going to require a plan. A very, very creative plan. My scout wolf rider lasted approximately 2 seconds inside that hall. The skeleton dragon glanced at him, raised one enormous bone claw, and splat. Instant paste. Tier 2 versus Tier 9. It wasn't a fight. It was a mosquito versus a freight train. I turned to Artoria. Think you can take that thing? She clenched her jaw. I'm willing to try. Yeah, no. You die. Look, I love her confidence. Truly inspiring. But I'm a reborn man with 3 years of battle experience, and I know exactly how strong Tier 9 creatures are. Artoria at level 10 with gold gear versus a skeleton dragon would be like sending a house cat to fight a building. The building wins. Every time. So the dungeon was unbeatable. Fine. I accepted that. But I did not accept leaving empty-handed. That black chest in the corner was calling my name. It was sitting right there, maybe 50 meters from a sleeping dragon, surrounded by 1,000 undead, radiating death energy like it was trying to warn me away. Challenge accepted. I told Artoria to hold position with the troops and not move. Then I reached into my bag and pulled out my beautiful new toy, the Deceiver's Mask. I put it on. My skin started rotting. My face collapsed. My body twisted and decayed until I looked like a full-blown zombie miner, complete with the shambling walk and the "I died 300 years ago" aesthetic. Artoria jumped backwards. My lord, are you okay? I'm fine. Don't worry about it. She looked genuinely horrified. Sorry, Artoria. Your handsome lord is temporarily a decomposing corpse. It's called fashion. I shuffled into the hall. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, moving at authentic zombie speed, painfully, agonizingly slow. Every second felt like an hour. I was surrounded on all sides by skeletons, ghosts, and other zombies, all of them looking at me like, oh hey, Steve from accounting, didn't see you there. The disguise was flawless. Not a single undead batted an eye socket. I walked right past a group of ghosts. Nothing. Shuffled between 2 rows of skeletons. Nothing. The dragon itself was sleeping 10 meters away and didn't even twitch. The Deceiver's Mask was worth every gold coin I gambled for it. The god of deception's craftsmanship, no notes. 15 of the longest minutes of my entire life later, I reached the chest. I was close enough to hear the dragon breathing. Could it breathe? It had no lungs. Whatever, it was making scary noises nearby. That's close enough. One chance. Don't mess this up. I hit open. A progress bar appeared. 1%, 5%, 20%, 10 seconds. It needed 10 seconds to open. That's an eternity when you're standing next to a sleeping apocalypse lizard made of bones. 50%, 70, 85, 92, 95. The dragon's eyes snapped open. Green soul fire blazed to life in its empty sockets. It looked directly at me. Cover blown. Disguise failed. The zombie act was over. The dragon raised its claw, the same claw that turned my wolf rider into ketchup, and swung straight at me. 98. 99. Ding. Congratulations. You've opened the death chest. Obtained special treasure, Skull King's cranium. Exit dungeon. I screamed at the top of my lungs. I vanished 1 millisecond before that claw turned me into a Lin Yuan smoothie. Poofed right out of existence and reappeared outside the mine, gasping for air, heart pounding like a drum solo. The system immediately slapped me with penalties, 1 million each of food, wood, iron, and silver confiscated, plus a 5-hour weakness debuff that cut all experience gains in half. The dungeon officially counted as a failure. Did I care? Absolutely not. Because clutched in my inventory was the prize. The Skull King's cranium. A jet black skull covered in dark runes. Effect. When the wearer's army kills enemies, 10% of those enemies resurrect as Tier 1 skeleton soldiers under your command. And you can merge skeletons together to upgrade them through 9 evolution stages, from basic skeleton soldier all the way up to skeleton emperor. Plus a 30% stat bonus to all skeleton units. I stared at the description and my brain nearly short-circuited. I remembered this item now. In my past life, this thing belonged to a North American lord called Black Hill. The guy was known as the Skeleton Emperor, one of North America's top 10 lords, because his entire army was nothing but skeletons. Every battle he fought, his army got bigger. Kill 1,000 enemies, gain 100 skeletons. Merge those into stronger skeletons. Repeat forever. His high-tier skeletons could apparently gang up on tier 9 creatures and win. Everyone wondered how he did it. Now I knew. This skull was his secret weapon the entire time. And now it was mine. Sure, I'm a human race lord, not undead. But that doesn't matter one bit. Every war I fight from now on feeds my skeleton collection. Kill enemies, harvest skeletons, merge them stronger, repeat. I'm basically building a free secondary army that grows every time I win a battle. It's a snowball that never stops rolling. So let me recap my first day. Secret S-Rank Hero, Gold Tier Equipment Set, Deceiver's Mask, Gambler's Ring, first silver boss kill in the entire game, and now the legendary Skull King's Cranium. Failed the dungeon though. So you know, nobody's perfect. Dungeons have a daily limit. 3 entries for basic ones. But with my weakness debuff cutting all experience in half for 5 hours, rushing back in would be stupid. So instead, grinding time. I took Artoria and the squad back into the forest to farm wolves. Boring? Yes. Productive? Extremely. Because now I had the Skull King's Cranium, which meant every dead wolf had a 10% chance of spawning a skeleton soldier for my army. Kill wolves, get free troops. It's like a buy 10 get 1 free deal, except the product is undead warriors. 6 hours of wolf genocide later. Artoria leveled up to 12, and I'd collected 160 skeleton soldiers. I lined them all up and looked at my new recruits. 160 bony boys standing at attention. Tier 1 trash. A spearman could sneeze and kill 5 of them. They were so weak they'd lose a fight to a stiff breeze. But that's what the merge ability is for. I activated the Skull King's Cranium. A black magic circle appeared on the ground, very dramatic, very goth, and sucked in 2 skeletons at once. They spun around, fused together, and out popped a tier 2 skeleton warrior holding a rusty sword. My eyes lit up. It works. I didn't stop. 2 skeletons make 1 warrior. 160 skeletons became 80 skeleton warriors. Then I merged again. 2 warriors make 1 heavy skeleton warrior, tier 3, now wearing actual armor. 80 warriors became 40 heavy armored bone soldiers. In 6 hours, I went from 0 to 40 tier 3 units completely for free. No resources spent. No recruitment buildings needed. Just murder wolves, collect bones, press merge. It's like a crafting system designed by a necromancer who played too much Tetris. 40 tier 3 heavies was plenty for now, so I stopped merging. Time to go back to the dungeon. This time I picked hard difficulty instead of hell. Look, I'm ambitious, not suicidal. The Skull King's Cranium was already mine. The best loot was secured. Now I just needed experience, and hard mode would deliver that without a dragon trying to flatten me. And wow, was hard mode easy after experiencing hell. The first wave was almost entirely tier 1 skeletons with a handful of zombies sprinkled in. After staring down a tier 9 bone dragon, this felt like a preschool field trip. Artoria led the charge and my army just steamrolled everything in sight. My heavy skeleton warriors were absolute beasts, 2-shotting zombies, shrugging off attacks from skeletons and zombies like they were being tickled. Their armor was so thick that low-tier enemies literally couldn't damage them. It was like watching tanks roll through a pillow fight. The only threats were the occasional tier 3 ghosts, but Artoria handled those personally. 1/ each. Done. Next. I even picked up more skeleton conversions along the way, so my army was actually growing as we pushed through the dungeon. I entered with a certain number of troops and came out with more. This dungeon was basically a shopping trip where I got paid to shop. We reached the final boss room. Instead of a terrifying skeleton dragon, we got a tier 5 dark priest, 10 ghosts, 20 zombies, and a bunch of basic skeletons. I almost laughed. After hell mode, this was like the game apologizing for earlier. Heavy skeleton warriors, go, I said casually. 50-something armored bone soldiers marched forward like a wall of death. The skeletons and zombies in their path didn't stand a chance. They got cut down before they could even swing. It was less of a battle and more of a parade with swords. The ghosts tried to be heroes. 2 of them blitzed a heavy skeleton warrior and actually ripped through his armor, tearing him apart. Okay, respect. But Artoria was not having it. She activated Holy Light Triple Slash, 3 blazing sword strikes, and deleted those ghosts from existence. Each swing took out 1 ghost with pinpoint accuracy. She was basically playing Whack-A-Ghost and winning. The Dark Priest finally panicked and started casting. "O God of Death, punish these foolish mortals." The ground turned into a black swamp. Dark Marsh, slowing everyone down and cutting stats by 10 to 20%. Annoying, but not game-changing. Artoria, kill him. She popped Knight's Spirit. Instant 50% morale boost and 30% stat buff for all human troops. My spearmen and archers went into overdrive. Sadly, the skeleton warriors and wolf riders weren't human units, so they missed the buff. Mental note: recruit a proper undead class hero to lead my skeleton army someday. Synergy matters. Artoria, Body, and Ivy surrounded the Dark Priest. Arrows rained from behind. His health bar melted like chocolate in a microwave. 2 minutes. Dead. Exploded into black mist, screaming something about us never escaping. Buddy, I literally have an exit button. Dungeon clear. Rewards: 3,000 Lord XP, 3,000 Hero XP, another Hero recruitment token. That makes 2 now. 8 more for a shot at an S-rank hero. 50 mid-tier resource packs, and 2 random silver-tier treasure chests. Not as flashy as the Hell Mode Skull. But hey, free stuff is free stuff. And I still had 2 more dungeon entries today. The skeleton snowball was rolling. The experience was flowing. And my army was getting bigger with every fight. Day 1 wasn't even over yet, and I was already building an empire. Hard mode rewards were nice. Nightmare mode rewards were delicious. After stomping through hard difficulty like it owed me money, I still had 1 dungeon entry left. My skeleton army had grown to nearly 70 heavy skeleton warriors, and with the Skull King's cranium turning every kill into free recruits, I was basically an army factory on legs. So naturally, I cranked it up to Nightmare. Same dungeon layout, 4 or 5 waves of grunts, then the big bad. But this time the boss was a tier 6 ghost eye spider surrounded by a rainbow of smaller spiders. Black ones that hit like trucks, green ones with poison attacks, red ones that explode when they get close, walking spider bombs, essentially, and white ones that spit webs to glue you in place. A real variety pack of nightmares. Lost about half my skeleton warriors in the fight, but Artoria carved through the spider army and put the boss down with Holy Light Triple Slash. 6 legs, 8 eyes, 0 chance. Dungeon clear. Rewards: 7,000 Lord and Hero XP, 2 Hero recruitment tokens. I'm up to 4 now. 150 mid-tier resource packs and 2 gold-tier treasure chests. Massive upgrade from hard mode. But then the world announcement hit again. Chinese player Lin Yuan. First Lord 2 clear, nightmare difficulty dungeon. Death gold mine. Bonus rewards: a platinum tier treasure chest, 20 premium resource packs, a hero XP storage jar, and 2 more recruitment tokens. The chat went nuclear. Again. He cleared nightmare? I can't even beat normal. I spent 40,000 and I'm still getting wrecked by field mobs. I haven't even found a dungeon yet. A platinum treasure chest? That's not fair. That's so not fair. Meanwhile, I was already ripping open that platinum chest like it was Christmas morning. Out came the Dawn Sword. Platinum quality. Plus 75 strength, 45 agility, 20 constitution. All human troops get 10% stat bonus. And an active skill called Dawn Battle. 30% attack speed, 20% crit rate, 10% lifesteal for all melee units for 15 minutes. This weapon was stupid good. I handed it to Artoria immediately. This is yours now. Her eyes sparkled. Thank you, my lord. Loyalty up to 82. She liked presents. Noted. Will continue bribing my way to maximum loyalty. Her new stat sheet was absolutely terrifying. Level 14. 2400 HP. Attack up to 560. Defense at 210. She was already a monster before. Now she was a monster wearing a platinum weapon. The gap between her and every other hero in the game was getting embarrassing. After burning all 3 dungeon entries, I headed home to check on construction. City Hall had hit level 2, generating 2,000 gold and 20,000 silver daily. Barracks upgraded. More troops available. But I only cared about one thing: getting that City Hall to level 3 so I could build the auction house. See, right now my problem was hilarious but real. I had almost 1 billion gold with nowhere to spend it. The daily shop refreshed once. Dungeon entries were capped at 3. My buildings were upgrading at construction speed, not money speed. I was a billionaire stuck in a small town with one grocery store. The auction house would change everything. Free trade with other players meant I could buy whatever anyone was selling, resources, equipment, rare items, hero tokens, at whatever price I wanted. When you're the richest person in the game by approximately 900 million gold, the entire player economy becomes your personal shopping mall. For the next 2 days, I ground nightmare dungeons 3 times daily. Artoria rocketed to level 20 and unlocked 2 more skills. Glory Shield creates a holy barrier that absorbs 1500 damage, clears most debuffs on activation, and gives all her troops 20% bonus defense while it's active. Basically a panic button with bonus tank mode. Holy Seal locks down a single enemy, freezing their movement and skills for 2 to 10 seconds depending on how strong they are, while cutting their stats by 30%. Sit down and think about what you've done button. For skills now. Holy Light triple slash for damage. Knight's Spirit for army buffs. Glory Shield for defense. Holy Seal for crowd control. She could do literally everything. And she was still sealed. All of this was her nerfed form. Once I unlock her true power, she'll jump from S rank to SSS rank and probably break the game in half. But that quest was still too dangerous for now. Patience. On day 3, finally, City Hall hit level 3. I built the auction house immediately. It rose from the ground, and I stared at it like a man who'd been wandering the desert for 3 days and finally found a swimming pool full of money. The plan was simple. Use the auction house to convert my mountain of gold into actual power. Buy everything. Outbid everyone. Turn virtual currency into an unchallengeable empire. Phase 2 of world domination was officially beginning. The money printer wasn't just going BRRRR anymore. It was about to go BRRRR. Auction house was built. My billion gold shopping spree could finally begin. But did I go straight there? Nope. I walked right past it and into the tavern instead. Because I had a date with Destiny. And Destiny's name was Arachi, a weirdo alchemist who was about to give me the most annoying quest chain in the entire game. I slapped 10 gold coins on the bar. Hey barkeep. Heard there's a strange alchemist who comes around here. Ring any bells? The bartender pocketed my coins faster than a magician and grinned. Oh, you mean Arachi? That lunatic? Last time he was here, he tried putting fire salamander pancreas into his drink and almost blew up my tavern. Yep, that's my guy. He gave me Arachi's address, Starlight City, Silver District, number 87. 3 hours away at full speed. I set off immediately. Starlight City was gorgeous. Massive, bustling, made my little territory look like a sad camping site by comparison. But whatever, Rome wasn't built in a day either. My city would surpass this place eventually. Probably by Thursday at the rate I was spending money. I knocked on door number 87. A man with hair like an electrocuted hedgehog stuck his head out. Who are you? Mr. Arachi. I'm here specifically to visit you. I've heard you're a brilliant alchemist. Flattery. The universal skeleton key. He got all bashful. Oh, brilliant is too strong a word. I'm merely scratching the surface of alchemy. Then he mentioned he needed some special monster materials collected. Bingo. Quest accepted. Arachi's commission. This was the legendary 100-ring quest. 100 sequential tasks, each one asking for different materials. The rewards for each individual stage were laughably bad. 500 XP and 5 basic resource chests. Most players who stumbled onto this quest gave up around ring 10 because the effort-to-reward ratio was basically a war crime. But I knew what waited at ring 100. The final reward was absolutely game-changing, and the first person to complete it got an exclusive bonus on top. Ring 1, 50 Grey Wolf Hearts. I had literally thousands of those from my wolf-murdering hobby. Turned in instantly. Ring 2, Poison Spider Venom Sacs. Had those too, courtesy of the Nightmare Dungeon Spider Boss. Done. Ring 3, 200 Blacktail Snake Scales. Didn't have those. But guess what I did have? The auction house. And 1 billion gold. I opened the auction house from wherever I was standing. Once you build it, you can access it anywhere, which is incredibly convenient, and found players selling snake scales for about 100 to 150 gold each. 200 scales cost me maybe 20 to 30,000 gold. Pocket change. Purchased. Delivered. Next. And that's when I entered what I call money speedrun mode. Ring 5. Ring 10. Ring 20. Ring 50. Every task needed different materials. Some I already had. Most I didn't. For the ones missing from the auction house, I just screamed into world chat. Buying material name. Paying top dollar. 10,000 gold not enough? 50,000. Still no sellers? 100,000. Money talks. Money SCREMS. At those prices, players were tripping over each other to sell me their stuff. Some guy probably sold me his entire inventory and then sat there wondering if he'd just been robbed or blessed. 50 rings done in 1 hour. Total cost. Over 3 million gold on materials alone. For quest rewards that gave me 500 XP per stage. Mathematically, this was the worst trade deal in the history of trade deals. But accumulated over 99 rings? That's nearly 50,000 hero experience. Artoria jumped straight to level 22 just from quest rewards. Not bad for what was basically an expensive shopping trip. Then came ring 99. 1 ring left. Mr. Arachi, anything else I can help with? He rubbed his hands together nervously. You've been so helpful, and I feel terrible that I can't pay you more. It's all for the advancement of alchemy, I said with my most noble, selfless smile. The smile of a man who knew the 100th reward was worth more than everything he'd spent combined. There's one final material I need, Arachi said, voice dropping to a whisper. The Dark Moon Tree Heart. Deep in the Dark Moon Forest outside this city, there's a 1,000-year-old tree. I need its core. He paused dramatically. But be careful. That forest is home to dark elves. They're extremely dangerous. Dark elves guarding a 1,000-year-old tree in a cursed forest. Finally, a task I couldn't solve by just throwing money at the auction house. This one required actually going out there, fighting through hostile elves, and ripping the heart out of an ancient tree. You know what? After 99 rings of playing delivery boy, I was actually looking forward to some violence. Let's go shopping, with swords this time. The last ring of the 100-ring quest needed a Dark Moon Tree Heart. Of course it did. 99 rings of, go buy stuff from the auction house. And the final one says, actually, you have to physically enter a special dungeon and fight dark elves for it. The universe really said, you can't money your way out of this one, rich boy. In my past life, nobody cleared the Dark Moon Forest dungeon until day 10. I was on day 3. But what's the point of being reborn if you're not going to do impossible things before breakfast? 2 hours of marching later, we arrived at the creepiest forest I'd ever seen. Dark, foggy, the kind of place where even the trees looked like they wanted to murder you. No difficulty selection this time. It was a special dungeon. One setting. Take it or leave it. I took it. Heavy skeleton warriors up front, I ordered. Always lead with the guys who are already dead. Can't traumatize a skeleton. Good thing I did, because about 30 seconds into the forest, whoosh, a storm of black arrows came screaming out of the darkness. Like someone turned on a sprinkler system, except instead of water, it was death. Even my armored skeletons, tier 3 heavy infantry, lost over a dozen guys instantly. These arrows were hitting hard. Imagine what that volley would have done to regular troops. Instant barbecue. Dark elves, Artoria shouted, already making tactical decisions. Wolf riders, charge in and disrupt their firing line. Smart woman. The skeleton warriors were too slow to close the distance. But wolf riders? Those guys moved through forest terrain like it was a highway. They crashed into the elf archers, and suddenly the arrow rain dropped to a drizzle. Then my skeleton warriors lumbered in, and it was cleanup time. Dark elf archers were tier 3 units with insane attack power and range. But their defense? Paper. Wet paper. Wet paper in a hurricane. Once my heavy boys got within sword distance, it was over. 30 archers, 30 corpses. I was about to convert the bodies into skeletons. Waste not, want not, when an ice-cold voice cut through the forest. Human, this is not a place for your kind, and those undead creatures. Disgusting, rude. 34 dark elf swordsmen burst out of the shadows like angry ninjas. Tier 3. High attack, high agility, paper-thin armor. My heavy skeleton warriors were basically their worst nightmare. You can't slash through plate armor with a skinny elf sword. Natural counter. But then I spotted him. The one in front, holding twin swords covered in black magic runes. Different energy entirely. Dark elf sword master. Silver tier boss. Level 20. 36,000 HP. Attack power up to 850. This guy wasn't messing around. He dove straight into my formation like a blender set to maximum. His twin swords moved like butterfly wings. Beautiful, graceful, and absolutely lethal. Every swing decapitated a heavy skeleton warrior. Pop, pop, pop. Skulls flying everywhere. My Tier 3 tanks were getting dismantled like Lego sets. But Artoria was already moving. Holy light triple slash. 3 blazing strikes in rapid succession. Minus 1165. Minus 1256. Minus 1248. Nearly 4,000 damage in one combo. The Swordmaster's health bar visibly shrank. He looked up at Artoria with cold, furious eyes. You dare stand in my way? Then he activated his skill, Dark Sword Dance. His twin blades started spinning at impossible speed, creating what was basically a tornado made entirely of sharp metal. A whirlwind of death heading straight for Artoria. I could feel the wind pressure from where I was standing. This was not a small attack. But Artoria didn't try to block it. She didn't try to dodge. She jumped backwards, raised her sword high above her head, and spoke in the most epic voice I'd ever heard from anyone, real or digital, in the name of justice. I shall seal Ti. Her blade erupted with blinding white light. A massive 6-pointed holy magic circle materialized right under the Swordmaster's feet. His Dark Sword Dance. Cancelled. Mid-swing. Just stopped. His movement? Frozen. Completely locked in place. He couldn't even blink. Holy seal. My girl just hit him with the sit down, shut up, and think about your life choices button. The most overpowered crowd control skill in her arsenal, used at the perfect moment to interrupt his strongest attack. The Sword Master stood there, glowing with holy chains, looking absolutely furious but unable to do a single thing about it. And Artoria stood across from him, sword gleaming, hair blowing dramatically in wind that definitely shouldn't exist inside a forest. This is why I spent 50 million on gacha pulls. This is why I picked the boring human race. This is my secret S-rank hero. And she wasn't even unsealed yet. Holy Seal was the MVP play of the century. The Dark Elf Sword Master stood there frozen like a museum exhibit while Artoria and my skeleton warriors went to town on him. Imagine being an elite dual-wielding swordsman whose entire fighting style depends on being fast and slippery, and then some blonde knight just glues your feet to the floor. His agility stat meant nothing. His fancy sword dance meant nothing. He was basically a very expensive punching bag. By the time the seal wore off, he had maybe a quarter of his health left. The look on his face? Pure, undiluted. This isn't fair. He tried to run. Cute. Body and Ivy were already behind him with a wall of spearmen blocking the exit. Nowhere to go, buddy. You're locked in here with US. A few more exchanges with Artoria, and he hit 0 HP, collapsing with the most dramatically offended expression I've ever seen on a digital face. Loot was excellent. Twin Dark Elf swords, a Dark Elf heart, a Dark Elf swordsman summoning scroll, 2 hero recruitment tokens, bringing my total to 8. Only 2 more. For that 50% S-rank hero shot, and 8,000 XP each for Lord and Hero. I used the summoning scroll immediately. 50 Tier 3 Dark Elf swordsmen joined my team. Then I activated the Skull King's cranium on the battlefield corpses and harvested nearly 200 skeletons. Merged them up, 200 became 100 skeleton warriors, which became 50 heavy skeleton warriors. I just fought a battle and came out the other side with more troops than I started with. The skeleton economy was truly beautiful. Every fight was a recruitment drive. War was literally profitable. At this point I had to laugh at myself though. I was supposedly a human lord. My army? Mostly skeletons and dark elves. The actual human troops, spearmen and archers, were an endangered species in my ranks. Every battle, a few more humans died and got replaced by bones. I was slowly becoming the undead lord I never planned to be. But hey, results are results. If winning means commanding a skeleton horde while technically being the human faction, then call me the human necromancer. I'll put it on a business card. We push deeper. More ambushes. Wave after wave of dark elves, swordsmen, archers, mages, assassins, all tier 3, 50 to 80 units per attack. They hit hard. They hit fast. They came from every direction. Any normal player would have been massacred 10 times over. In my past life, nobody even cleared this dungeon until day 10. I was here on day 3, and the only reason I was surviving was because every dead elf became more skeletons which became more heavy skeleton warriors, which made the next fight easier. The Skull King's cranium turned this dungeon from impossible into a war of attrition that I literally could not lose. Then, through the dark trees, I saw it. A tree so massive it looked like it was holding up the sky. The Dark Moon Divine Tree. Bigger than any building, any castle, anything I'd ever seen in either life. Just absurdly, impossibly, magnificently enormous. I barely had time to appreciate it before an ice-cold voice cut through the air. Filthy human. You go no further. I looked up. Standing before me was the Dark Elf Queen. Tall, gray-black skin, wearing a short black dress that could only be described as combat formal, long legs. Dark magic swirling around her body. A floating black spellbook hovering at her side. She looked down at me with the kind of contempt usually reserved for gum on someone's shoe. And I'll be completely honest, she was stunning. Like, forget the quest for 3 seconds and just appreciate the character design, levels of gorgeous. The dark skin, the exotic vibe, the dangerous aura. Whoever designed this NPC deserved a raise. I had about half a second to appreciate this before she pointed one elegant finger at me and said, "Kill him." For Dark Elf Sword Masters launched out of the shadows simultaneously. Not one. 4. All silver tier bosses. All level 20. All very eager to separate my head from my body. "Protect the Lord," Artoria screamed, throwing herself in front of me. She intercepted 2 of them single-handedly. Twin blades clashing against her Platinum Dawn sword in a shower of sparks. My girl was dueling 2 bosses at once like it was a Tuesday. My skeleton army swarmed the other 2. Dozens and dozens of heavy skeleton warriors piling onto each sword master like undead football tackles. Sure, each boss was strong. But try being strong when 50 armored skeletons are all stabbing you at the same time. The Skeleton C strategy was officially operational. The battle raged. Artoria held her 2 with pure skill. The skeleton swarm was grinding the other 2 down through sheer numbers. Things were going well. But the Dark Elf Queen? She just stood there, watching, arms crossed, not lifting a single finger, which meant she was the real boss. And she was waiting. This was about to get very, very interesting. "Protect the Queen," screamed a bunch of dark elves, and suddenly an entire army materialized behind their queen like she'd been hiding them in her pockets. Swordsmen, archers, assassins, the full dark elf combo meal. My skeleton horde crashed into them head-on. The final boss fight had officially begun, and it was chaos. Artoria raised the Dawn Sword high. For the Lord, she activated Dawn Battle, 30% attack speed, 20% crit rate, 10% lifesteal for all melee units. Every skeleton, every wolf rider, every dark elf swordsman on my side suddenly got juiced up like they'd chugged 5 energy drinks simultaneously. Then the notifications started pouring in. Ding, first sword master down. Ding, second. Ding, third. Ding, fourth. All 4 silver tier bosses dead, each one dropping twin swords, hearts, summoning scrolls, and 2 hero recruitment tokens. That's 8 more tokens from just these 4 bosses. Combined with what I already had, I'd lost count honestly. The tokens were reproducing faster than I could track them. Artoria dove into the remaining dark elf troops like a golden meteor. Tier 3 elves versus a level 22 S-rank hero with platinum gear? It wasn't combat. It was gardening. She was trimming hedges with a lightsaber. Finally, the dark elf queen had seen enough. Despicable human. "You will pay for this," she stepped forward. The floating black spellbook beside her started flipping pages like it was possessed. Dark energy condensed into dozens of shadow projectiles and launched at my army. Boom, 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 boom. An entire section of my skeleton warriors just evaporated. One volley. Gone. Like they were made of crackers. I pulled up her stats and my confidence took a brief vacation. Dark Elf Queen. Platinum tier boss. Level 25. 100,000 HP. Magic attack up to 1650. For skills including something called Dark Life Drain, which sounded absolutely terrifying. 100,000 health points. For perspective, the silver bosses had 36,000. This woman had nearly 3 times that. And her magic damage was hitting harder than anything I'd faced so far. But she was a mage. And mages have one universal weakness across every game ever made. They're made of tissue paper. Low defense. Low health relative to their damage. If you can get close and stay close, they crumble. The problem was getting close when she was deleting my troops in bulk. Time to go all in. I ripped open all 4 Dark Elf Swordsman summoning scrolls that I'd just gotten from the Dead Sword Masters. 200 fresh Tier 3 Dark Elf Swordsmen spawned onto the battlefield instantly. The queen looked at her own kin fighting for me and absolutely lost it. You dare betray me for a human? You are a disgrace to our race, ma'am. I'm not sure they had a choice. I used a magic scroll. This is a labor dispute you'll have to take up with the summoning system. Her rage translated into more firepower. The spellbook exploded with dark energy that formed into floating blades, shadow sides that sliced through the air, cutting heavy skeleton warriors clean in half. She was literally mowing down my troops with magic swords. Artoria activated Glory Shield, 1500 damage absorption, debuff cleanse, and 20% defense buff for all troops. Combined with Dawn Battle's buffs, my surviving units were now running on double steroids. Artoria charged straight through the Queen's magic barrage, shield-absorbing hits, and landed Holy Light triple / point blank. Minus 1648. Minus 1754. Minus 1654. Nearly 5,000 damage in one combo. The Queen's health bar actually visibly moved. Low defense was her Achilles heel, and Artoria just kicked it hard. My archers joined in from the back, each arrow doing only 100 or 200 damage individually, but 10 archers firing together added up fast. Death by 1,000 tiny cuts. The battle became a war of attrition. Artoria weaving around the Queen's attacks, landing combos whenever she could. Skeleton warriors charging in as meat shields. Well, bone shields, soaking damage so Artoria could reposition. Every dead elf and skeleton on the ground became raw material for more skeletons. 90% health. 75. 45. The Queen's HP was draining steadily. I should have been celebrating, but I wasn't. Because I've been a gamer long enough, in 2 lifetimes, to know one universal truth. A boss below 20% health is the most dangerous thing in any game. Sure enough, the moment her health dipped below 20%, everything changed. Her body levitated off the ground. Dark energy erupted around her like black flames, swirling and writhing. The spellbook orbited her like a dark satellite. Her expression went from angry to cold. Imperial. The look of someone who just stopped playing around. She looked down at all of us. My skeleton army, my elf converts, my archers, Artoria, me, like we were insects. Then she spoke, calm and deadly. Those who desecrate this sacred place receive the Dark Moon's punishment, Dark Life Drain. Every single alarm in my reborn brain went off simultaneously. Whatever was coming next was going to be very bad. Dark Life Drain was exactly as horrible as it sounded. Hundreds of black energy threads shot out from the Queen in every direction, latching onto my troops like evil puppet strings. I watched one thread connect to a spearman and, I kid you not, the guy shriveled up into a dried husk in about 2 seconds. Just drained, like a juice box being squeezed by a toddler. And the Queen's health bar started going back up. She was eating my army to heal herself. Every soldier she drained meant more HP for her. If I hesitated, if I pulled back to regroup, she'd just keep snacking on my troops until she was back to full health, and we'd have to start all over again. No, absolutely not. We did not fight through an entire forest of dark elves just to let the final boss hit the reset button. Everyone focus her down, I shouted. Don't let her recover. Artoria charged in first. Black threads were draining her life force too, but did she care? Did she even flinch? No. She ran straight at the Queen like the threads were mildly inconvenient mosquitoes. My skeleton army followed. Fearless. Obviously, they're skeletons. Fear requires a brain, and they're fresh out. They swarmed the Queen from every angle, hacking away with everything they had. The math was simple. She was healing, but we were dealing damage faster than she could drain. Her health bar kept dropping, slowly but surely. 90% recovery became 80, then 60, then 40. The key was commitment. Total, all in, burn the boat's commitment. If I'd gotten scared and retreated, she would have healed up and we'd have been toast. Sometimes the only winning move is to charge directly into the scary thing and hit it until it stops being scary. Then Artoria found her opening. She lunged forward, drove her sword straight through the Queen's chest, and pinned her there like a butterfly in a collection. The Queen's last sliver of health vanished. I couldn't. Protect you. My people. She collapsed to her knees. Dead. Beautiful even in defeat, which felt weirdly unfair. Then the loot explosion happened, and I forgot all about aesthetics. Platinum strategic treasure, Dark Moon Heart. The Queen's personal spellbook. 12 summoning scrolls, 4 swordsmen, for archers, for assassins. That's 600 tier 3 units just sitting in my inventory. 5 hero recruitment tokens. And 38,000 experience points. My jaw actually dropped. The losses I'd taken during the fight instantly compensated. 600 fresh troops replaced everything I'd lost, and then some. But wait. The world announcements started rolling in like a double feature. Announcement 1. Chinese Lord Lin Yuan becomes the first player to kill a platinum tier boss. Rewards: 2 platinum treasure chests, 150 premium resource packs, 300 enhancement stones, 5 hero recruitment tokens. Announcement 2. Chinese Lord Lin Yuan becomes the first player to clear the Dark Moon Forest dungeon. Rewards: Dark Elf Queen recruitment token, 100 premium resource packs, 10 high-tier hero XP books. The chat channel had a collective aneurysm. Again? The world announcements are just his personal blog at this point. It's been 3 days, and he's killing platinum bosses? Are we playing the same game? Those rewards are insane. A recruitment token for the Dark Elf Queen herself? I'm taking my militia to go clear a dungeon right now. Bro, your militia can barely clear a farm. Sit down. Now, the platinum treasure chests were nice, but honestly, just temporary power. What really made my heart race was the Dark Elf Queen recruitment token. Use it, and the Queen herself, S-rank hero, would appear in my tavern for 24 hours, available for recruitment. A second S-rank hero. On day 3, most lords would spend months praying for even one S-rank. I was about to have 2. Artoria and the Dark Elf Queen. The Holy Knight and the Dark Sorceress. Together. On the same team. Working for me. The character designers at this game company deserved every penny of their salary. But first, I had unfinished business. I walked up to the massive Dark Moon Divine tree, borrowed Artoria's sword. The sealed one was insanely sharp, and carved my way into the trunk until I found it. A glowing fruit-shaped core radiating soft moonlight. The Dark Moon Tree Heart. Absolutely gorgeous. The tree had multiple hearts inside it, so taking one wouldn't kill it. I'm a conqueror, not a deforester. I have some standards. 1 hour of speed marching later, I was back at Eriki's door in Starlight City, knocking with one hand and holding a glowing tree heart in the other. Mr. Eriki, I brought your Dark Moon Tree Heart. 99 rings of fetch quests. 3 million gold in material purchases. 1 impossible dungeon cleared a full week ahead of schedule. 1 platinum boss killed. 1 queen defeated. All for this one nerdy alchemist and his weird experiments. This final reward better be spectacular. Eriki nearly cried when I handed him the Dark Moon Tree Heart. The man was shaking with excitement like a chihuahua who just discovered coffee. You actually got it, he sputtered. I need 3 days to complete my experiment. Come back then, and I promise the reward will be worth it. 3 days. Fine. I've waited longer for pizza delivery. I headed straight back to my territory because I had something way more exciting to do. Recruit my brand new S-rank waifu. I burst into the tavern, yanked out the Dark Elf Queen recruitment token, and slammed it down. Her name appeared on the recruitment list immediately. Price of admission, 20 hero recruitment tokens. 20. I stared at that number like it had personally insulted my family. 20 tokens to recruit 1 hero? That's highway robbery. That's not a recruitment fee, that's a ransom. Most players would see that number and sob into their keyboards. Where would you even get 20 tokens this early in the game? I checked my inventory. 14 tokens. 6 short. No problem. Open the auction house. Hero recruitment tokens were selling for 1 million gold each. $1 million for a little piece of paper. The market was absolutely unhinged. I bought 6 without blinking. 6 million gold. Added to the 20 million I'd effectively spent earning the other 14 through boss kills and dungeon clears. Recruiting this queen cost me roughly the GDP of a small island nation. Worth every penny. Recruit. A flash of dark light, and there she was. The Dark Elf Queen, Kaelin. Standing in my tavern in that same devastating black dress, same dangerous curves, same gray-black skin glowing with dark magic. Except this time, instead of trying to murder me, she bowed her head and said, "Esteemed Lord, Kaylin is at your service. And was that a hint of flirtation in her voice? Ma'am, 6 hours ago you were trying to drain my entire army into dried jerky. Now you're batting your eyelashes? The audacity of this woman. I loved it. One small problem. She started at level 1. A level 1 S-rank hero was like owning a Lamborghini with no engine. Gorgeous, but useless. Good thing I had 10 high-tier hero experience books from the dungeon rewards. Each one gave 20,000 XP. 200,000 total. I dumped all 10 into Kaylin at once. White light, white light, white light, white light. Level after level blasting through her like a time-lapse video of a flower blooming. Except the flower was a dark sorceress gaining the power to annihilate small armies. Level 12. 2 skills unlocked. Dark magic bullets, multiple homing shadow projectiles, and summon dark elves. Conjures dark elf soldiers to fight for her. Quantity scaling with level. Her stats were nasty. 1800 HP, magic attack up to 730, intelligence at 375. Low defense because she was a glass cannon. But who needs defense when you can delete enemies from 50 meters away? I now had 2 S-rank heroes. Artoria, the Holy Knight. Platinum Sword. Gold Armor. Blonde, noble, built for frontline warfare. The girl next door if the girl next door could decapitate a dragon. Kaylin, the Dark Queen. Magic Spellbook. Shadow Powers. Dark, seductive, designed for maximum destruction from the back line. The kind of woman who'd steal your heart and then literally drain it. Together, they were light and darkness. Sword and sorcery. The most overpowered duo in the entire game on day 3. Other players would sell their kidneys for 1 S-rank hero. I had 2, and I was casually browsing the auction house for accessories. With the 100-ring quest on a 3-day timer, I decided to chill. Not do nothing, chill. I'm physically incapable of that. But strategic development, chill. For 3 days, I focused on 3 things. Building up my city. Sending Artoria and Kaylin out with separate armies to grind levels in the wild. And dispatching Body and Ivy to keep exploring the unknown map. Results? City Hall hit level 4. Heavy Infantry Camp and Night Training Camp built. Unlocking Tier 3 Heavy Infantry and Tier 4 Knights. My city was starting to look like an actual city instead of a sad campsite. Artoria and Kaylin were both leveling up like maniacs. 2 S-rank heroes grinding simultaneously meant double the progress, double the skeleton harvesting, double everything. The troop situation was still a bit thin. Barracks at low levels could only spit out a handful of soldiers per week, but between summoning scrolls, skeleton conversions, and the occasional auction house purchase, my army was growing steadily. Then, on the morning of day 6, before the sun had even fully risen, I was already marching towards Starlight City with my entire army. Araki's 3 days were up. The 100-ring quest reward was waiting, and I was not going to be late for this appointment. Arachi looked like he hadn't slept, eaten, or seen sunlight in 3 days. His eyes were sunken, his hair was somehow even more chaotic, and he smelled like a chemistry lab that had been through a war. But behind those raccoon eyes, pure, unhinged excitement. The experiment was a success. He pulled out a rolled-up piece of parchment and handed it to me like he was passing the nuclear launch codes. This is years of my life's work. It's all I can offer as payment. Please don't think it's worthless. Buddy, if you only knew. The reward, dark potion recipe. 1 recipe, 1 piece of paper, and it was worth more than everything I'd spent on the entire 100-ring quest combined. Here's why. This recipe is unique. 1 copy in the entire game. Only I have it. And in my past life, someone used this exact recipe to make nearly 1 billion gold in profit. The secret? 2 beautiful words, monopoly pricing. The dark potion was one of the most sought-after consumables in the game, staying relevant all the way through mid-game. Every serious lord wanted it. Every guild needed it. And only 1 person could make it. Cost to produce 1 potion, 200 gold. Selling price, 2,000 gold. Profit margin, 10 times. A master-level alchemist could brew 1 bottle every 3 minutes. That's 20 bottles per hour. 36,000 gold profit per hour. Work 8 hours a day, and you're pulling in nearly 300,000 gold daily. In a year, over 100 million gold. And that's just the baseline. During wars, when demand spikes, I could probably charge even more. Supply and demand, baby. Economics 101. taught by the only professor who also commands a skeleton army. But I had a problem. I couldn't sit around brewing potions all day like some medieval pharmacist. I had bosses to kill, territories to conquer, and an uncle to eventually destroy. I needed someone I trusted to handle the potion business. Someone I really trusted. Because when you hand someone a money printer that spits out 100 million a year, most people's loyalty develops. Cracks. I learned that lesson the hard way when my own uncle murdered my parents for the family company. I wasn't about to get burned twice. Then it hit me. Butler Lee. I opened the in-game communication channel and called him. Yes, even though players couldn't log out anymore, we could still phone the outside world. Convenient feature. Slightly terrifying implications. Young master? Is that you? It's me. Lee, did you join the game? He chuckled. That's a young people thing. I'm too old for games. I was actually thinking about retiring, buy a little villa in the suburbs, plant some vegetables, get a dog. Since you sold the entire company, there's not much for me to manage anymore. I could hear the gentle disappointment in his voice. He thought I'd gone crazy, sold my parents' legacy, and then disappeared into a video game. From his perspective, I looked like the world's most irresponsible rich kid. Time to fix that. Lee, listen very carefully. What I'm about to tell you is extremely important. His tone shifted. In all the years he'd known me, I'd rarely been this serious. Buy a gaming pod. Get into Lord's era. Do it within the next few days. Why? Because in 1 month, every single person on Earth, gamers or not, will be forcibly pulled into the game. Reality and the game will merge. The game world becomes the real world. Money becomes useless. Companies become meaningless. The only thing that matters is how prepared you are inside the game. Dead silence on the other end. I could practically hear his brain trying to process whether his young master had finally, completely lost his mind. I know it sounds insane, I continued calmly, but everything I'm telling you is true. I'm only sharing this because I consider you family. You've been with us since my father was alive. You watched me grow up. I trust you. As for how I know all this, don't ask. Just trust me. Then I played my ace card. You've seen the news lately, right? Players can't log out of the game anymore. It's all over the headlines. Everyone thinks it's a technical glitch. It's not. I heard him inhale sharply. Because he had seen the news. The whole world was panicking about it. Millions of players trapped inside gaming pods, unable to disconnect. Families screaming at game companies. Governments launching investigations. Everyone assumed it was a malfunction. But it wasn't a malfunction. It was the beginning. The silence on the line stretched for several seconds. I could almost hear the gears turning in his head, connecting my frantic stock sell-off, the billion-gold gaming deposit, and now this warning, with the terrifying headlines he'd been reading all week. Young master, his voice was different now. Quieter. Are you telling me you knew this would happen? Before it happened? Buy the pod. Lee, get into the game. I'll take care of the rest. I hung up before he could ask more questions. Some truths are easier to believe once you're living inside them. Now I had a potion empire to build, a butler to recruit, and in 3 days, the world's only dark potion monopoly would be open for business. Being reborn with future knowledge was great. Being reborn with future knowledge and a billion gold and 2 S-rank heroes and an exclusive potion recipe? That was just unfair. And I was only getting started. Butler Lee hung up on me in a panic because he suddenly remembered his daughter was also in the game. Can't blame the man. Finding out the world is ending tends to rearrange your priorities real quick. His daughter, Li Bingqiu. I actually remembered her from my past life. She was no joke, built a guild called Thorny Rose, and became a pretty famous female lord. Tough, smart, and cool under pressure. With her and Butler Lee together, they'd been a solid team last time around. He managed her guild like a well-oiled machine because apparently, being a butler and running a medieval war guild require the exact same skill set. I was not letting either of them slip through my fingers this time. Butler Lee was a management genius, and Bingqiu was a talented lord in her own right. After getting murdered by my own uncle in my last life, I'd learned one very important lesson. You can't do everything alone. I needed loyal people, a real team, a faction I could trust with my life. Meanwhile, Butler Lee called his daughter in the middle of her clearing a dungeon. The woman was mid-boss fight, literally commanding troops against a skeleton general in a place called the Bone Wastes, on hard difficulty. And she picked up the phone like it was a casual Tuesday. "Hey Dad, what's up?" He asked if she'd tried logging out. She said yes, it doesn't work, nobody can leave, and, direct quote, if we're all gonna die, at least we die together. Butlerly raised an absolute warrior of a daughter. The world is collapsing around her, and she's basically shrugging and going, cool. Anyway, back to my dungeon. He told her everything I told him. Game replacing reality. 1 month countdown. All of it. Her response? No screaming. No crying. No, that's impossible. Just calm, rational analysis. The game's realism already exceeds current technology. So yeah, it's probably true. If the game becomes the real world in a month, we need to build advantages now. Ice cold. I liked her already. Then Butlerly gave her my contact info, and she sent me a friend request. I accepted immediately. Her first message, you're Lin Yuan? The Lin Yuan? As in Lin Yuan. Apparently my reputation preceded me. 3+ days of hogging world announcements had turned my name into basically a legend. She'd been hearing, Chinese Lord Lin Yuan first to do this, and Chinese Lord Lin Yuan first to do that, nonstop since the game launched. Now she found out that the legendary lord dominating every leaderboard was her dad's boss's kid, the same guy she probably remembered as some rich teenager. What? I can't be him, I replied, grinning. No, I just never connected the two names. She was embarrassed. Fair enough, Lin Yuan and Lin Yuan sound identical. She really should have caught that. I got straight to business. Your dad told you everything I said, right? Yes. Do you believe me? Or do you think I'm joking? I believe you. This game is clearly not normal. Then came the question I knew was coming. But how do you know all this? I could have dodged it. Made up some excuse. Said, classified information, or a reliable source. Instead, I decided to just tell her the truth. Why not? I was feeling bold. What if I told you I'm a reborn person who came back from the future? Would you believe that? A pause. If you don't want to tell me, that's fine. Everyone has secrets. I stared at the message for a solid 5 seconds. She thought I was deflecting. She thought, I'm reborn from the future, was my way of saying, mind your own business. I literally told her the actual truth. The real, honest, no-filter truth, and she interpreted it as a polite way of saying, I don't want to answer. I sat there in my city hall, surrounded by skeleton warriors and dark elf soldiers, holding a potion recipe worth 100 million, commanding 2 S-rank heroes, having just killed a platinum boss on day 3 of a game that would consume reality in a month. And the one thing nobody would believe was the simplest fact of all. I'm a time traveler. I died. I came back. That's it. That's the whole story. But sure, everyone has secrets. Fine. I'll just keep being mysterious then. Apparently honesty is the least believable strategy. This world is ridiculous. All right, forget the reborn thing. You don't believe me. Moving on, I wasn't offended. I literally told this woman the complete, unfiltered truth about my existence, and she filed it under polite deflection. Honestly, it's kind of the perfect cover story. Nobody suspects the guy who openly admits to being a time traveler because everyone assumes he's joking. You know why I told your dad all that important information, right? I asked. Because you trust him. Correct. But there's another reason. I need his help. And yours? Mine? She sounded genuinely surprised. But we've literally just met? I couldn't resist. Meeting you for the first time feels like reuniting with an old friend. Smooth? Incredibly smooth. Also technically true, since I'd actually interacted with her in my past life. She was solid. Trustworthy. The kind of person who wouldn't sell you out even if someone offered them a really nice horse for it. Combined with her father's loyalty to my family, recruiting her was basically a no-brainer. I'll think about it, she said. Smart woman. Didn't jump at it immediately. Didn't reject it either. Just considered. I respected that. You can't pressure people like Bingchu. The harder you push, the faster they run. You have to let them come to you. So I laid out the offer. 1 million gold per month salary. Plus, I'll personally provide you with game strategies and insider knowledge to help you grow faster than any other player. Now, the 1 million gold was nice. But I knew that wasn't what would hook her. A woman like Bingchu didn't chase money. She chased growth. And the promise of receiving guidance from the guy who'd been dominating every single world announcement since day one, the undisputed #1 lord in all of China, that was the real bait. I could practically hear her brain calculating. Take your time, I said, reaching for the disconnect button. No rush. I'll do it. That fast. She didn't even let me finish my sentence. I grinned so hard my face hurt. Then from today forward, we're partners. First order of business. I told her about the dark potion recipe. Full disclosure. The monopoly. The 10 times profit margin. The 100 million a year revenue stream. Everything. I could feel the stunned silence through the screen. 100 million gold annually from one recipe that only I possessed. The kind of business opportunity that makes billionaires weep with jealousy. And I was handing her the keys. What do you need me to do? She asked, her voice noticeably more energized. Find me a pharmacist. Someone who can learn the recipe and brew potions full-time. Pay doesn't matter. I'll be generous. But I need one thing, absolute loyalty. I am not training someone just to have them run off and sell my secrets to a competitor. Been there. Done that. Got literally stabbed for it. Actually, Bingchu said after thinking for a moment. I might know someone. A girl my dad sponsored through college. She's from a poor family, but she's got incredible character. Never asks for money unless she's desperate. Once she started working, she sent my dad money every month to pay him back. Visits him on holidays. Grateful, quiet, hardworking. The kind of person who keeps her head down and grinds without complaining. Perfect. Gratitude plus work ethic plus endurance? That's exactly the personality type you want for someone who'll be brewing the same potion 8 hours a day, every day, forever. This job required the patience of a monk and the loyalty of a golden retriever. Sounded like this girl checked both boxes. Your call, I told Bingchu. I trust your judgment. I'll send you the recipe and 150,000 gold. 100,000 is your first month's salary. 50,000 is for buying potion ingredients. The failure rate will be high at first. Don't worry about wasted materials. Every master pharmacist started as a disaster. Just keep practicing. Got it, she replied. And that was that. I'd just handed a recipe worth 100 million to someone I'd known for approximately 20 minutes. Reckless? Maybe. But I'd spent my entire past life being cautious and trusting nobody, and I ended up getting murdered by my own uncle anyway. This time, I was betting on people. Good people. Bingchu got it. I could feel her determination through the messages. This wasn't just a job for her, it was an alliance. She had ambition. She had pride. And now her ambition was tied to mine. So let's count my assets on day 6. 2 S-rank heroes. A skeleton army that grew with every battle. A monopoly potion business about to print money. An auction house connected to my billion gold war chest. A loyal butler incoming. A talented female lord as my first real ally. And an alchemist's recipe that would fund my empire for years. Oh, and an uncle who still had no idea that the nephew he murdered in another timeline was coming for him with the economic power of a small nation and the emotional stability of a man who'd already died once and was absolutely done being nice about things. Life was good. Well, game life. Same thing in about 3 weeks. With Bingchu handling the potion business, I cleared my head and started planning my next moves. My army was looking beefy. Over 1,000 Tier 3 units, though I had to admit the composition was eclectic. Mostly skeleton warriors converted from corpses, a bunch of dark elf summons, and a tiny sprinkling of actual human troops. I was the human faction lord, commanding an army that was approximately 90% not human. If there was a racial purity award, I would not be winning it. But I don't care. Winning is winning. Black cat, white cat. If it catches mice, it's a good cat. Both my S-rank heroes were stacked. Artoria had her platinum dawn sword and gold tier accessories. Kaelin the dark elf queen now had her own loadout. 2 platinum pieces and 3 gold pieces. And her stats were climbing fast. 2 S-rank heroes, fully equipped, with a 1,000-strong army behind them. Time to cash in on another secret from my past life. I dug through my memories of Starlight City and remembered a very specific, very special quest. The commission of Master Builder Bright. I tracked him down using my past life knowledge. Found him in his workshop, a hollow-eyed, tobacco-chewing wreck of a middle-aged man. He looked like life had chewed him up, swallowed him, and spit him into a ditch. Which, as it turns out, was pretty much exactly what happened. See, Bright was actually the chief architect of Starlight City. The entire city was his design. Genius-level talent. Had everything going for him. Fame, career, and at 28, he married a nobleman's daughter named Annie. The golden couple. Life was perfect. Then he made one terrible decision. He took Annie outside the city walls for a honeymoon trip. They got ambushed by orcs. A huge pack of them. The mercenary escort he'd hired got slaughtered. Bright and Annie were captured. What happened next was the kind of thing that makes you understand why some NPCs have permanent darkness in their eyes. The orcs were savage, barely intelligent creatures driven by base instinct. They killed the mercenaries and celebrated by doing unspeakable things. Annie didn't survive, and the orcs made Bright watch the whole thing before permanently crippling him in the most humiliating way possible. Imperial knights from Starlight City eventually arrived and drove the orcs off. Bright survived, physically at least. Everything else, his wife, his dignity, his ability to ever be whole again, was gone forever. Among the player community, Bright was universally considered the single most tragic NPC in the entire game. And knowing his story, I understood completely why a brilliant architect was sitting in a dark room, looking like a man whose soul had left years ago. When I walked in, he snarled at me. "Get out. I told you people not to bother me when I'm working." I didn't flinch. I knew exactly what to say. "Mr. Bright, I'm here to accept your commission. Those orcs outside the city, the ones that have been causing trouble again, I can wipe them out for you." Every last one. The anger drained from his face instantly. His eyes went red. His lip trembled. "Annie, my Annie." He broke down for a moment, then caught himself, wiped his tears with a handkerchief, and when he looked back up at me, there was nothing in his eyes but pure, cold hatred. "If you can do it, kill them all. Every single one." His voice was the voice of a man who'd spent years dreaming about revenge, but never having the power to get it. I nodded. "You have my word." Not one orc walks away. "Then I swear on my name, I will not let your efforts go unrewarded." Quest accepted. Bright's commission. I knew exactly what that reward was. And trust me, for a city builder like me, what Bright could offer was worth more than any treasure chest. But first, I had some orcs to exterminate. And honestly, after reading this man's backstory, I wasn't just doing it for the reward anymore. Some quests are business. This one was personal. Look, I felt genuinely bad for Bright. The man's story was horrifying. But let's be real, I didn't accept his quest because I was emotionally moved. I accepted it because the reward was going to be incredible. I'm a businessman first, a hero second, and an emotionally sensitive person. Distant third. I remembered roughly where the orc camp was from my past life, which saved me a ton of scouting time. Marched my whole army straight there. The orc camp was a dungeon with difficulty selection, just like the Death Gold Mine. And here's the key detail I knew from my past life. Bright's quest reward scales with the difficulty you clear. Higher difficulty equals better reward. So obviously, hell difficulty. No hesitation. Maximum risk, maximum payoff. That's the Lin Yuan way. The scene shifted, and suddenly I was standing in front of the most disgusting village I'd ever seen. Crude wooden huts that looked like a kindergartner built them with logs and anger. The air smelled like a slaughterhouse that hadn't been cleaned since the invention of slaughterhouses. Orcs aren't exactly known for their hygiene, or intelligence, or architecture, or literally anything positive. "Charge," I yelled, because when you have 1,000 heavy skeleton warriors, subtlety is overrated. My bone army surged forward like a white tidal wave of calcium and violence. Now, I could have merged my skeletons into Tier 4 skeleton knights. I tested it. 4 heavy skeleton warriors merge into 1 knight. Better agility, but similar health and defense. So 1,000 heavies would only make 250 knights. That's a terrible exchange rate. I'd rather have 1,000 medium tanks than 250 slightly faster tanks. Volume wins wars. This isn't Formula 1 racing, it's a mosh pit. First wave, 200 to 300 regular orcs wielding big wooden clubs came screaming out of camp. On hell difficulty, even basic orcs had Tier 3 stats. Scary for most people. For my skeleton wall, target practice. The archers and dark elf bowmen in the back peppered them with arrows while the skeletons held the line. 10 minutes later, every orc was dead. I lost maybe a few dozen skeletons. Acceptable. Second wave. Orcs wearing bronze armor and carrying BATTLEXES. Tier 4 orc warriors. These guys were no joke. High attack, high defense, slow but devastating. How did orcs get armor? They raided dwarf settlements and kidnapped dwarf blacksmiths to forge gear for them. Basically forced labor. These orcs were wearing the product of war crimes. Classy. About 200 of them came charging out. "Kill them all," I ordered. The skeleton army clashed with the armored orcs while Artoria and Kalen finally entered the fight. Artoria was a golden blur. She moved so fast you could barely track her sword. One hit, one dead orc. Didn't matter how thick their skin was or how heavy their armor. She cut through them like they were made of warm butter. But the real show? Kalen, my dark elf queen, floated above the battlefield like a goddess of destruction, her spellbook spinning beside her, pages flipping wildly. Dark magic bullets materialized around her and launched in every direction. Boom, 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 boom. Each bullet only did 60% magic damage, but 60% of an S-rank hero's attack stat was more than enough to one-shot a tier 4 orc. They dropped like bowling pins. 5 at a time, 10 at a time. She was basically playing a tower defense game, and the orcs were the towers. 2 S-rank heroes plus a skeleton army equals absolute carnage. The tide was firmly in my favor. Then 2 massive shadows stepped out from the orc ranks. 3 meters tall. Muscles on top of muscles on top of more muscles. Each one built like a refrigerator that had been hitting the gym for 20 years. Bronze armor. Enormous battle axes covered in magical runes. Orc centurions. Gold tier bosses. Level 25. 58,000 HP. Attack up to 950. Defense at 570. One of them swung his axe casually, and 4 or 5 of my heavy skeleton warriors exploded into bone fragments. One swing. Multiple kills. Like sweeping crumbs off a table. If I let these 2 run wild in my army, they'd chew through my skeleton forces like a wood chipper through toothpicks. Artoria, Kalen, stop them, but honestly, they were already moving before I even opened my mouth. Artoria intercepted one centurion head-on, sword meeting axe in a shower of sparks. Kalen started bombarding the other with dark magic from range, forcing it to focus on her instead of my troops. 2 S-rank heroes versus 2 gold-tier bosses. This was going to be fun. Artoria went first. Holy light triple slash. 3 devastating strikes that carved nearly 10,000 HP off the orc centurion in one combo. The thing had 58,000 total health. She'd just deleted a sixth of it in about 2 seconds. At level 27 with platinum gear, she was fighting this gold-tier boss like it was a mild inconvenience. Meanwhile, the other centurion was sizing up Kalen with the most disgusting look I've ever seen on a digital creature. It literally licked its lips while staring at her. The orc had the intelligence of a toddler and the hormones of. I don't even want to finish that thought. Kalen's reaction was pure ice. Filthy idiot. She summoned 50 dark elf swordsmen who materialized in a black magic circle and surrounded her like the world's most lethal bodyguard squad. The centurion went berserk, eyes turning blood red, muscles bulging, charged straight into the elf wall and got absolutely mobbed. Then Kalen casually bombarded it with dark magic bullets from behind her personal army. Glass cannon with her own built-in meat shield. Brilliant design. 10 out of 10 hero. Both centurions dropped within minutes. 200 orc warriors wiped out. Easy chapter, right? Wrong. The ground started shaking. Earthquake-level rumbling. From inside the camp emerged something that made the centurions look like house pets. 4 meters tall. A walking mountain of muscle and scar tissue. Carrying a rune-carved battle axe that was bigger than Artoria's entire body. Orc chieftain. Platinum boss. Level 30. 200,000 HP. Attack up to 1550. Defense at 750. And he brought friends. 300 tier 4 orc warriors. 600 tier 3 regular orcs. Nearly 1,000 total reinforcements. But that wasn't even the worst part. Behind the chieftain stood 2 hunched, ugly creatures holding oak staffs. Orc shamans. Gold tier bosses, level 25. They looked pathetic, small, frail, barely threatening. And they were the most dangerous things on the entire battlefield. From my past life, I knew exactly what these guys could do. They had one skill, Beast God's Blessing. 2 modes. Mode 1. Buff all nearby orc warriors with 80% stat increase. Mode 2. Buff the chieftain specifically with 30% stats and 50% damage reduction. In my previous life, countless lords wiped on this fight because they ignored the shamans and went straight for the chieftain. Then the shamans buffed everything and suddenly the orcs went from manageable to extinction event. I wasn't making that mistake. All ranged units, focus the shamans. Skeleton warriors, push forward and clear a path. Dark elf assassins, get behind enemy lines and reach those shamans. My army moved like clockwork. Arrows blackened the sky, all aimed at the shamans. Skeletons crashed into the orc front line as living shields. Assassins slipped through the chaos using stealth, weaving between fights, sprinting toward the backline. Artoria understood my plan instantly and blazed toward the shamans at maximum speed. But the chieftain stepped in her way. For meters of pure hatred blocking her path. Human, die! He swung his axe downward with a skill called Axe of Fury. The air itself seemed to crack. Artoria activated Glory Shield just in time. The barrier materialized and caught the blow. Minus 944. One hit. Nearly 1,000 damage through a shield. The barrier was already covered in cracks like shattered glass. Artoria had about 4,000 HP total. Without the shield, 3 or 4 hits like that, and she was done. And then, the thing I was dreading. One of the shamans raised his staff and started chanting. Beast God's blessing activated. On the chieftain, crimson light engulfed its body. Its muscles swelled. Veins popped across its skin like cables. 30% stat boost plus 50% damage reduction. This thing had just gone from extremely dangerous to basically unkillable power. I feel it. It swung again. The glory shield shattered. Artoria got launched backwards like a ragdoll, losing 700 HP from the impact alone. The buffed chieftain was an absolute nightmare. My strongest hero, level 27, S-rank, platinum weapon, couldn't even stand in front of it without getting thrown around like a toy. Those shamans had to die. Right now? Before they buffed the regular orcs too, because if 900 orcs suddenly got an 80% stat boost, my entire army would melt faster than ice cream on the surface of the sun. This fight just went from challenging to pray your assassins are fast enough. Artoria switched strategies instantly. Forget trading blows with a 4-meter steroid monster. She needed to stall it. Holy Seal activated, locking the chieftain in place with glowing holy chains. Then she raised the Dawn sword and popped Dawn Battle. 30% attack speed, 20% crit, 10% lifesteal for all melee troops. My army surged forward with the buff. But the second shaman wasn't sleeping. It cackled and cast Beast God's Blessing on the regular orc warriors. 80% stat boost. Tier 4 orcs suddenly hitting like Tier 5s. They smashed through my skeleton formation like a bowling ball through tissue paper, ripping open a huge gap in my lines. Buffed orcs were bulldozing my heavy skeletons. 2 tiers of stat difference meant my bone boys were basically made of styrofoam. If I didn't kill at least one shaman immediately, even winning this fight would cost me my entire army. And I don't do Pyrrhic victories. Those are for people without billion gold bank accounts and 2 S-rank heroes. Speaking of which, it was Kaylin's turn to shine. Her spellbook started flipping pages. Dark magic bullets condensed around her like a deadly solar system. She marched straight toward the nearest shaman, protected by her dark elf swordsmen who were literally dying around her to keep her alive. One by one they fell, but they bought her enough ground to get within casting range. The shaman saw her coming. Its eyes went wide with terror. Smart creature. Should have run. Dark Moonlight. Kaylin activated the skill from the Dark Moon Heart, the platinum treasure I'd gotten from killing her in the dungeon. Poetic, honestly. She was using gear dropped from her own boss fight. A dark moon materialized in the sky above and shot a beam of concentrated shadow energy straight down onto the shaman. Minus 345. Minus 377. Minus 455. Continuous damage plus suppression. The shaman couldn't move, couldn't cast, just stood there getting pressure washed by moonlight. Then Kaylin unloaded everything. Dark magic bullets. Boom, boom, boom. Minus 1126. Minus 1345. Minus 895. Rapid fire. A machine gun made of shadow. And for the grand finale, Shadow Blade. A single massive dark energy sword, conjured from thin air, launched at point-blank range. Minus 7,754. The shaman's head fell off its body before the damage number even finished floating up. One full combo. One dead shaman. Instant delete. She didn't fight it. She erased it from existence. Like pressing backspace on a keyboard. I stood there genuinely slack-jawed. Kaylin was a magical Gatling gun. Artoria was strong in a balanced, I can do everything, kind of way. Kaylin was strong in a, I will delete one specific thing from reality in 3 seconds flat. Way. Together? Unstoppable. With the first shaman dead, the chieftain's beast god's blessing evaporated. No more 30% buff. No more 50% damage reduction. Artoria immediately felt the difference. The chieftain went from impossible back down to really hard but manageable. She could hold it now. Just needed to stall until Kalen finished cleanup duty. But the front lines were still a disaster. The second shaman's buff on the orc warriors was still active, and those juiced-up tier 4s were demolishing my skeletons. Every second that shaman breathed cost me dozens of troops. Kalen pivoted towards shaman number 2. But here's the problem. Her dark elf bodyguards were almost all dead, and her summoning skill was on cooldown. She was a glass cannon with no glass. Just cannon. The surviving orc warriors surrounded her. Axes and clubs started connecting. Her health bar began sliding down. She was an S-rank hero, yes, but her defense stat was terrible. Every hit from a buffed tier 4 orc took a visible chunk. The second shaman saw this and started dancing, literally jumping around, cackling, pointing at Kalen, taunting her, celebrating. The scary lady can't reach me. I'm untouchable. Oh, buddy. You poor, stupid little creature. Kalen smiled. Not a scared smile. Not a desperate smile. The kind of smile a cat gives a mouse right before it stops playing. Being looked down upon by filthy insects. How irritating. Her spellbook erupted with dark energy. Black threads shot out in every direction, latching onto every orc warrior surrounding her. Dark life drain. The same skill that almost killed my entire army when I fought her as a boss. Except now it was on MY side. Every orc connected to those threads started shriveling. Their health poured into Kalen like juice through a straw. Her HP climbed back up while theirs plummeted. She was standing in the middle of 100 enemies, surrounded, outnumbered, taking hits from every direction, and she was healing faster than they could damage her by eating them alive. This was the Dark Elf Queen at full power, not the cornered mage getting swarmed. The apex predator who let you surround her because it made feeding easier. The shaman stopped dancing. Dark life drain turned the entire battlefield into Kalen's personal all-you-can-eat buffet. Every orc warrior connected to those black threads was basically a walking health potion with legs. She recovered 20% of her HP in 10 seconds while the orcs around her shriveled up like raisins. I'd been on the receiving end of this skill before, so I knew exactly how disgusting it was. The only counterplay is to either burst her down instantly or fight her one-on-one. Surrounding her? That's not trapping her. That's catering. The second shaman watched its warriors getting vacuum drained and had a complete mental breakdown. It threw its staff on the ground and bolted. Just turned around and sprinted. A gold tier boss, running for its life, from my hero. Kalen didn't even chase. She just condensed a few dark magic bullets and launched them like homing missiles. Minus 1135. Minus 1456. Minus 1089. The shaman's stubby little legs couldn't outrun light-speed shadow projectiles. It dropped dead mid-stride, face-planting into the dirt. The instant it died, Beast God's blessing vanished from every orc warrior on the field. You could literally see the moment it happened. Orcs that were bulldozing my skeletons suddenly went soft. Like someone pulled the batteries out of 100 angry toys simultaneously. My skeleton army counterattacked hard. Kalen, nice work. Now go help Artoria. She's running out of patience over there. The chieftain was still a problem. 200,000 HP, level 30, for meters of pure fury. But without the shaman's buff, it was manageable. Just very, very angry and very, very large. Artoria and Kalen tag-teamed it. Artoria dodged and weaved up close, landing combos whenever the opening appeared. Kalen bombarded from range with dark magic. Meanwhile, my skeleton warriors, running out of orcs to fight, started piling onto the chieftain too. Dozens of them. Then hundreds. The chieftain went berserk at 20% health, naturally. Eyes red, muscles bulging, the usual tantrum. Artoria wisely backed off and let Kalen handle it from range. The berserking chieftain managed to smash a few dozen more skeletons, but that was like throwing rocks at the ocean. There were always more bones. Finally, boom, the chieftain's last HP ticked to 0. That 4-meter mountain of muscle toppled over like a felled tree, shaking the ground on impact and kicking up a cloud of dust. Loot. Platinum Tier Shadow Battle Axe, Orc Chieftain's Heart, 10 Tusks, 10 Orc Warrior Summoning Scrolls, 5 Hero Recruitment Tokens, and 60,000 experience for both Lord and Hero. And then the world announcement. Chinese Lord Lin Yuan becomes the first player to clear Hell Difficulty Dungeon. Orc Camp. Rewards. Orc Chieftain Recruitment Token, 150 Premium Resource Packs, 15 High-Tier Hero XP Books, another S-Rank Hero Recruitment Token. Technically, I could recruit the Orc Chieftain himself. A 4-meter-tall rage machine with an axe the size of a dining table. Did I want him? Absolutely not. He specialized in leading Orc troops, which wasn't my style. Orc units were boring. High stats, no creativity. Perfect for someone whose battle strategy is run at enemy, hit enemy, repeat. I preferred finesse. Plus, training a third S-rank hero would eat enormous resources. Heroes should be quality, not quantity. I already had the Holy Knight and the Dark Sorceress. Adding a caveman with anger issues would be a downgrade in aesthetics alone. But the recruitment token was still worth a fortune. Any player in the game would sell their firstborn child for an S-rank hero token. I could easily get tens of millions at auction. Not that I needed money. I just liked knowing I could. Now, the damage report. I'd lost about 700 heavy skeleton warriors. Nearly 2/3 of my skeleton army. This fight had been genuinely brutal. But then I activated the Skull King's cranium on the mountain of orc corpses piled across the battlefield. You have successfully converted 6,248 Tier 1 skeleton soldiers. 6,248. Quick math. That's over 1,500 heavy skeleton warriors after merging. I went into this battle with about 1,000 skeletons. Lost 700. And came out with nearly 1,500 new ones. My army didn't just recover, it grew by 50%. The more epic the battle, the bigger the body count. The bigger the body count, the bigger my army gets afterward. Every war was an investment. I was running a military Ponzi scheme where the returns were made of calcium. I chopped off the Orc Chieftain's head, stuffed it in my backpack like a really grim souvenir, and marched back to Starlight City. Bright wanted every Orc dead. Mission accomplished. Now it was time to collect what that broken architect owed me. I walked up to Bright and dropped the Orc Chieftain's severed head on his table like a grim pizza delivery. Package for you. The man took one look at it and completely fell apart, tears streaming, hands shaking, whispering his dead wife's name. Annie, I finally avenged you. There was no joy in his eyes, no triumph, just grief. Years and years of accumulated grief, finally finding an exit. I stood there quietly and let him have his moment. Even a heartless billionaire warlord knows when to shut up. After collecting himself, he grabbed both my hands. Thank you, brave adventurer. Please accept my gift. Ding. Quest complete. 100% completion. Rewards. 5 24-hour construction speed-up scrolls, 10 12-hour speed-ups, and 121-hour speed-ups. My eyes practically turned into gold coins. Construction accelerators. The one thing money literally couldn't buy. These scrolls were untradeable special items. You either earned them or you didn't have them. Period. Quick math. That's roughly 15 days of construction time I could skip. 15 days. While every other lord in the game was sitting around waiting for buildings to finish like normal people, I was about to fast forward through 2 weeks of development in one afternoon. This is why I did Bright's quest on Hell difficulty. This is why being reborn matters. I always know exactly what to do and exactly when to do it. No wasted time. No wrong turns. Every action is calculated. I sprinted back to my territory and went absolutely feral with upgrades. City Hall. Upgrade. Spearman Camp. Upgrade. Archer Camp. Upgrade. Night Training Camp. Upgrade. Blacksmith. Build. Magic Tower. Build. I was slapping speed-up scrolls on everything like a maniac. It felt like playing on a private server with cheat codes enabled. City Hall needs 7 days to reach level 5. Here's 7 24-hour scrolls. Boom. Instant level 5. Building takes 3 days. 3 scrolls. Done. Next. Then a world announcement dropped. Lord Lin Yuan becomes the first player to upgrade City Hall to level 5. Rewards. 10 high-tier Lord XP books, 10 high-tier Hero XP books, and a tier 5 Troop Evolution Scroll. I hadn't even remembered this reward existed. Bonus surprise loot, my favorite kind. The chat went predictably insane. Level 5 City Hall. Mine's barely at 3. This has to be an inside job. He's working for the game company. Hack. This Chinese player is cheating. I demand to report him. Report him how? You can't even log out. Genius. Wait. We seriously can't leave the game? Like ever. Your pod's nutrient supply lasts about 1 month. After that, well, hope you enjoyed your gaming career. I knew I shouldn't have bought this stupid game. The conversation quickly spiraled from, Lin Yuan is too strong, to, are we all going to die in our gaming pods? Classic community mood swing. I scanned the chat for about 10 seconds and closed it. Not my problem right now. Back to the real prize. The Tier 5 Troop Evolution Scroll. Description. Evolves any Tier 5 unit into a hidden class troop. All future recruits of this type will be the evolved version. Hidden class. The two most beautiful words in gaming. I knew exactly how powerful hidden class troops were from my past life. There was this orc lord named Andre, total nobody, who stumbled into a Tier 9 hidden unit called the Golden Behemoth. Within 1 month, he went from irrelevant to top 10 in North America. His Golden Behemoths could literally tear apart Tier 9 angels with their bare hands. A Tier 5 hidden unit would have stats comparable to Tier 6 baseline. And the real power wasn't even the stats. It was the special abilities that hidden classes came with. Regular troops were vanilla ice cream. Hidden troops were vanilla ice cream with a nuclear warhead inside. I needed a Tier 5 unit to use this scroll on. Human factions Tier 5 unit? Mages. So I built the Mage Academy immediately. Cost. 3.5 million food, 3.5 million wood, 1 million silver, plus 3 days construction time. 3 days? That's adorable. 3 speed-up scrolls later, poof. Mage Academy complete. Instantaneous. Didn't even have time to blink. I used the evolution scroll on the mage class, and 3 options appeared: Frost Mage, Flame Mage, Wind Spirit Mage. I stared at the screen. You get to choose the evolution path? Hidden troops came with a selection menu? This was like being asked, which flavor of overpowered would you like? The hardest decision of my reborn life was about to begin. 3 choices. Frost Mage, Control Specialist. Wind Spirit Mage, Support Specialist. Flame Mage, Pure, Unadulterated, Face-Melting Damage Specialist. I picked Flame Mage in about half a second. I already had Artoria for frontline tanking and Holy Seal for crowd control. Kaylin could summon her own bodyguards and drain life from enemies. What I was missing was raw, explosive. Everything in that direction is now on fire, damage output. Flame Mage it was. I maxed out the Mage Academy using speed-up scrolls, because why wait? And recruited my first batch. 60 Flame Mages materialized in matching crimson robes, each one looking like a walking campfire with attitude. Beautiful. But were they actually strong? Time for a test. I lined up 10 of them and had Artoria activate Glory Shield as a target dummy. 1500 damage absorption, a solid benchmark. Full power. Show me what you've got. They started chanting. Normal mages need 4 or 5 seconds to cast. These flame mages? 1 to 2 seconds. They conjured multiple exploding fireballs each and launched them simultaneously. Boom, 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 boom. The Glory Shield, 1500 HP of absorption, shattered in 1 second. 1 single second. 10 mages deleted it instantly. My jaw dropped. These weren't soldiers. These were artillery pieces wearing robes. Even Tier 6 units might not hit this hard. Hidden class troops were every bit as broken as advertised. I'd basically given my army a missile launcher battalion. No regrets. 0. Best evolution choice of my life. Then my communicator beeped. Bingchu. Boss, I found your pharmacist. She's already brewed the first batch of dark potions. I blinked. Already? That fast? This woman worked like she had a personal deadline with the universe. I'd given her the job maybe 2 days ago, and she'd already recruited someone, trained them, and produced results. If efficiency was a sport, Bingchu would be banned for doping. How many potions? I asked. 50. Send them all to me. We're not selling yet. Here's the thing. The game had only been live for about a week. Most players were still in caveman mode, building basic stuff and fighting starter wolves. Maybe 1% of the player base would even recognize the value of a dark potion right now. Selling to an ignorant market meant low prices and wasted supply. Rule number 1 of monopoly economics. Sell when demand peaks, not when supply is ready. I'd stockpile for now and flood the market later when every lord was desperate for combat consumables. That's when I'd charge premium prices and watch the gold roll in like a tsunami. Oh, one more thing. I told Bingchu. I need you to build me a dungeon hunting team. A what? Scouts. Explorers. People whose entire job is wandering the map and finding new dungeons. First clear rewards are always incredible, but I can't explore everywhere myself. I need a dedicated squad, professional, fast, ideally with heroes that have exploration specialties. Got it, she said. Smart woman. Didn't need anything explained twice. Then SHE had news for me. Speaking of dungeons, I found one. The Green Dragon's Lair. Want to team up? I froze. Green Dragon's Lair. I actually remembered this one from my past life. It was a unique, special dungeon. One time clear only, disappears after someone beats it. And the reward? A dragon's treasure hoard. The catch? 20 tier 9 green dragons guarding it. 20. I'd chickened out of a dungeon that had one tier 9 skeleton dragon back on day 1. Now we were talking about 20 of them. 20 building-sized flying lizards that could each individually exterminate a small army. But I wasn't the same scared newbie from day 1 anymore. I had 2 S-rank heroes, 1,000+ heavy skeleton warriors, 60 hidden class flame mages that could melt steel, and enough combat experience from 2 lifetimes to write a textbook. Sure, I said. When? Day after tomorrow. New week starts, so I can recruit fresh troops first. Deal. Privately, I found it a little adorable that she thought her newly recruited low-tier troops would make a difference against dragons. Those things would use her soldiers as toothpicks. But I kept that thought to myself. She was still growing. A little harsh reality from 20 fire-breathing death lizards would be an excellent learning experience. The real firepower for this dungeon was going to come from me. My flame mages. My skeleton ocean. My 2 queens. Green dragons, enjoy your last 2 days of peace. The barbecue is coming, and I'm bringing the fire. 2 days later, I showed up at the meeting point with my entire army. Bingchu was already there, because of course she was early. The woman was professionally punctual. She waved me over. Boss, over here. First thing I noticed, Bingchu was tall. Like 170 at least. Light armor hugging every curve. Long legs, gorgeous face. If competent businesswoman who could also kill you was an aesthetic, she was the poster girl. Standing next to her were 2 strangers. A skinny, well-groomed guy who looked like he'd be more comfortable in a library than a battlefield, and a tiny girl with big, sparkly eyes who looked like someone's adorable little sister. This is Chun Bei and Lin Ming. Bingchu introduced them. My friends. I brought them for backup. Smart. She was worried about the dungeon difficulty, so she recruited extra help. Cautious woman. Sure, I said, but let's set the rules up front. Loot distribution based on individual contribution. Fair. Chun Bei immediately agreed. Absolutely. Even brothers settle accounts clearly. Ming nodded. No objections. Reasonable people. Good. If they'd argued about loot before we even entered, I would have walked away without looking back. I was here to kill dragons, not babysit egos. We formed a party. The moment my name appeared on the team list, Chun Bei's reaction was priceless. Holy, you're Lin Yuan? The Lin Yuan? The actual Lin Yuan. His eyeballs nearly popped out of his skull. He spun toward Bingchu. You didn't tell me you were bringing a god? You didn't ask. SHE. Didn't ask. Bro, there's a difference between come help me with a dungeon and come meet the most famous lord in the entire game. He turned back to me, starstruck. Great one. She didn't seduce you, did she? I must warn you. This woman looks nice, but she's basically a beautiful venomous snake. Marry her, and she'll beat you daily. Smack. Bingchu's palm connected with the back of his head so fast it broke the sound barrier. Chun Bei, one more word, and I'm cutting your tongue out. He yelped, clutched his skull, and stumbled away. See? This is what I'm talking about. Violence. Domestic abuse. Witness me. I couldn't help laughing. These 2 fought like siblings. Then his brain switched from comedy to business mode. Wait. Bingchu, what's your actual relationship with the great lord here? He's my boss. He pays me 1,000,000 gold per month. Chun Bei's eyes went so wide I thought they'd fall out of his face. 1,000,000? PR month. He whipped toward me so fast he got whiplash. Great lord. Sir. Your Excellency. Do you need another employee? I'm very capable. Everything Bingchu can do, I can also do. My figure isn't as good, but I'm more obedient. And I'm cheaper. 500,000 a month. Half price. Ming kicked him in the shin. Stop embarrassing yourself. Let's just do the dungeon. You don't understand. I'm networking. Enough, Bingchu said. And the discussion was over because when Bingchu said, enough, people listened or they lost body parts. We entered the green dragon's lair. The forest inside was ancient. Trees over 10 meters tall, thick canopy blocking out the sky, the kind of primordial woodland where you expect dinosaurs to wander past. Everyone summoned their heroes and troops. When Artoria and Kalen materialized beside me, the entire group went silent. Shinbei gulped. Audibly. 2 women. One in shining armor radiating holy light. The other floating with dark magic swirling around her body. Both devastatingly, unfairly, impossibly beautiful. And both projecting the kind of power that made the air feel heavy. Those heroes, Bingchu said carefully. They're high tier, aren't they? Both S-rank, I said casually. 3 jaws hit the floor simultaneously. 2 S-rank heroes. In one party, belonging to one person. While they were each rocking a single A-rank hero and feeling proud about it. Then they looked at my army. Over 1,000 heavy skeleton warriors. 60 flame, mages in crimson robes. Dark elf units. Wolf riders. More troops than their 3 armies combined. I could practically see their self-esteem deflating in real time. Bingchu had an A-rank rose swordsman, a solid human female hero. Ming had an A-rank elf priestess, a support healer type. Both respectable choices. Then there was Chunbei, this scrawny, nerdy-looking bookworm had chosen the ORC race. And his hero was a minotaur called Savage Bull Tyrant, Kwangshan, a massive, axe-wielding, muscle-bound cowman that looked like it ate smaller heroes for breakfast. I did a double take. This beanpole of a man commanded a berserk minotaur? Then a memory surfaced from my past life. Bingchu's guild, Thorny Rose, almost entirely female leadership. Except for one male member, an orc lord, known across the server as the Beast Tribe Tyrant. His orc army was so brutally violent that they crushed everything in their path with pure, overwhelming force. That was Chinbei, this goofball who just offered to be my discount employee. The gap between his current personality and his future reputation was giving me emotional whiplash. It was like learning that the class clown would grow up to become a 4-star general. Interesting. Very interesting. If I invested in this guy early, he could become a serious asset down the line. But for now, all I could see was a skinny dude hiding behind a woman after getting slapped, standing next to a minotaur twice his size. The future Beast Tribe Tyrant, everybody. Currently available at half price. Stay sharp, everyone. This dungeon isn't what you think. Everyone nodded seriously. If the guy who'd been speed-running world announcements for a week said, "Be careful," you listened. Then the bushes started rustling. Dozens of dark golden eyes lit up in the shadows between the trees. Predator eyes. Hungry eyes. The kind of eyes that said, "Welcome to the food chain, and you're not at the top." SCRECH. 60-plus creatures erupted from the forest like a green nightmare. Green-scaled dragon lizards. I called out immediately. Tier 6. See, in this game, anything with dragon in the name is automatically terrifying. These particular monsters were the unholy offspring of green dragons mating with giant lizards. Half-dragon mutts. Each one was the size of a large dog. If that dog was covered in green scales, had razor teeth, and could bite through steel armor. Shinbei's confidence evaporated in real time. These lizards are insane. My Tier 4 orc berserkers just got 2 shot. They're Tier 6, I reminded him calmly. High damage is expected. Tier 6? His eye twitched violently. We're fighting Tier 6s on the first wave? What's waiting at the Yendi? Valid question. Terrifying answer. But we'd crossed that dragon bridge when we came to it. Each of you handle 20 lizards, I ordered. Just stall them. Minimize casualties. I'll take the rest. That meant I was volunteering for 60-plus Tier 6 monsters by myself. The other 3 looked at me like I'd casually offered to bench press a building. But nobody argued. Because 2,000 heavy skeleton warriors were already surging forward like a white tidal wave, engulfing the dragon lizards from every direction. Were my Tier 3 skeletons strong enough to kill Tier 6 monsters? Absolutely not. They were getting chomped like crackers. But killing wasn't their job. Their job was to stand there and get chewed on so the real damage dealers could work in peace. And the real damage dealers? My beautiful, crimson-robed flame mages. 60 pyromaniacs started chanting simultaneously. Fireballs materialized, not small ones, exploding ones, and launched in a coordinated barrage. Boom, 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 boom. Red damage numbers erupted over every dragon lizard like a fireworks show. One fireball took out nearly a third of a Tier 6 monster's entire health bar. One shot, a third, from a Tier 5 unit. The entire party froze mid-combat to stare. Mumling's jaw dropped. Human troops are? That's strong. Shenbei swallowed hard. If I'd known humans hit like that, I would have picked human race. Bingshu shook her head. No, regular human mages don't do this. Those are hidden class troops. Hidden class? Shenbei looked like someone had shown him a winning lottery ticket and then eaten it in front of him. Hidden class units were rarer than S-rank heroes. The kind of thing most players only heard about in Legends. Ming snapped everyone back to reality. Stop gawking. We can't let Lin Yuan do everything. Her elf priestess hero cast Forest Goddess's blessing on the entire party. 10% attack speed, 10% movement speed, 10% damage immunity for all troops. Solid support buff. This is why you bring a healer to a dragon fight. With the buff active, everyone fought harder. My flame mages continued their carpet bombing campaign. The dragon lizards tried desperately to reach the back line, but my skeleton wall held firm. The lizards couldn't touch a single mage. They were stuck biting through an endless supply of bone warriors while fireballs rained on their heads. Did I lose skeletons? Oh, massively. 500 heavy skeleton warriors turned to bone fragments. But that was the entire point. Skeletons were renewable resources. Flame mages were not. Protect what matters, sacrifice what regenerates. 15 minutes later, every single dragon lizard, over 100 of them, was dead. Shenbei surveyed the battlefield, saw my 500 shattered skeletons, and looked genuinely worried. Bro, you okay? That's a lot of dead troops. I shrugged. I'm fine. Actually, if you really want to help, pile all the dragon lizard bodies together for me. Why? Just do it. He was confused but compliant. Good trait in a future employee. Within minutes, a mountain of green-scaled corpses was stacked in front of me. Over 100 Tier 6 bodies. High-quality raw material. I pulled out the Skull King's cranium. Everyone watched, having absolutely no idea what was about to happen. The necromancer billionaire was about to go shopping at the corpse store, and business was booming. A black magic circle opened up like a hungry mouth and swallowed every single dragon lizard corpse on the battlefield. Then, one by one, skeleton soldiers started marching out of it like the world's creepiest assembly line. Everyone stared at me like I'd just performed a magic trick at a children's birthday party. Except the trick involved necromancy and a pile of dead lizards. So that's where all his skeletons come from. I could practically hear them thinking. Then I started merging. 2 skeletons into 1 warrior. 2 warriors into 1 heavy. The math worked out beautifully. 400 brand new heavy skeleton warriors, manufactured on-site from recycled dragon lizard parts. I'd lost 500 in the fight and gained 400 back. Net loss? About 100. Totally acceptable. Shenbei watched the entire process with his mouth hanging open. That treasure is insane. You literally never run out of troops. Ming smirked at him. A strong treasure needs a strong user. If you had it, you'd probably convert 3 crippled skeletons and call it a day. Excuse me? When my orc army is fully developed, it'll be unstoppable. Your little elves can just stand in the back and heal me. Who'd want to heal you? Orcs are so ugly even dogs won't play them. Oh yeah? Well, your precious elves. These 2 bickered like an old married couple at a grocery store. Clearly best friends. Clearly incapable of going 5 minutes without roasting each other. We pushed deeper. 3 more waves of dragon lizards. Over 100 per wave. Tier 6 units, every single one. This dungeon was absolutely not designed for current stage players. The only reason we were surviving was because of my skeleton army, my flame mages, and my 2 S-rank heroes. For the later waves, I sent Artoria and Kalen into the fights directly. Against Tier 6 lizards, each of them could handle 10 at once without breaking a sweat. With them in the mix, my skeleton losses actually went negative. I was converting more corpses into new skeletons than I was losing. My army was literally growing as we progressed through the dungeon. The others weren't walking away empty-handed either. Dragon lizard bodies contained premium crafting materials, eyes, blood, fangs, scales, all worth a fortune at auction. And if you collected enough scales, a blacksmith could forge platinum-tier dragon lizard armor. For my teammates who didn't even have a full set of gold equipment yet, that was life-changing loot. Then we reached a clearing. Massive ancient trees towering into the sky, their canopies so thick and intertwined they formed a solid roof of green. A living ceiling hundreds of meters up, and between those branches, moving in the shadows. Shapes. Enormous shapes. Wings folding. Tails curling. Scales glinting. This is the final stage, I announced, keeping my voice steady. Everyone prepare yourselves. It's going to be harder than anything you've faced. The Guardians are 20 Tier 9 green dragons. Silence. Then Qianbei. 20? Tier 9. Are you kidding me? This dungeon doesn't want us to win. It wants us to suffer and learn from it. Meng Meng raised her hand. Wait, how do you even know that? It's your first time here too, right? Fair question. I'd prepared a cover story. Before the game launched, I obtained some internal game data through special channels. That's how I've been ahead of everyone since day one. Perfectly reasonable explanation. Meng Meng accepted it immediately. Qianbei was too busy being impressed to question it. He literally grabbed my leg and started pledging undying loyalty. You have insider info? Boss, I'm yours. You say east, I go east. You say punch, I punch. You say eat dirt, I just ask dry or wet. My eye twitched. This was the future beast tribe tyrant. The fearsome warlord whose orc armies would crush everything in their path. Currently hugging my leg and offering to eat dirt on command. The character development gap between present Qianbei and future Qianbei could fill the Grand Canyon. But I needed people like him. Loyal, capable, and, eventually, terrifyingly strong. Definitely worth investing in. The only person who didn't react was Bingqiu. She just stood there, watching me quietly, her sharp eyes slightly narrowed. I could tell she was thinking about what I'd said before. About being reborn. She dismissed it as a joke back then. But now, watching me casually predict dungeon contents I'd never seen before, I could see the doubt forming. Is this guy actually a time traveler? Written all over her face in invisible ink. Yes, Bingqiu. Yes, I am. But take your time. The truth is patient. Above us, 20 Tier 9 green dragons shifted in the canopy. Massive, ancient, each one capable of wiping out a small army single-handedly. 20 of them. My skeleton army. My flame mages. My 2 S-rank heroes. 3 allies with decent troops. Versus 20 apocalypse lizards with wings. This was either going to be the greatest victory of the early game, or the most spectacular failure in Lin Yuan history. Let's find out. A massive green dragon head poked out of the tree canopy above us. Golden eyes. Pupils like vertical slits. Looking at us the way I look at a menu. Then it roared. Qianbei stumbled backward like he'd been physically pushed by the sound. I'm not scared, he said immediately. I'm just excited. First time seeing a Tier 9 monster up close. Meng Meng didn't even blink. You were scared. Just say it. Nobody's judging. Everyone was judging. All right, listen up, I said. 20 Tier 9 dragons. Each of you takes 3. I'll handle the remaining 11. Let that sink in. I volunteered to solo 11 Tier 9 dragons. Each one equivalent to a level 30 gold tier boss. That's 11 bosses. Simultaneously. If someone told me a week ago I'd be doing this, past me would have checked present me into a hospital. Bingqiu nodded. Be careful. If it's too much, just exit the dungeon. Losing some resources as penalty is better than total annihilation. I'll be fine, I said with more confidence than I probably deserved. Meng Meng's elf priestess buffed everyone with forest blessing, attack speed, movement speed, damage reduction, the works. Then her elf archers launched arrows at the nearest dragon to pull aggro. -156. -78. -121. Tier 3 archers against a Tier 9 dragon. The damage numbers were genuinely embarrassing. They weren't fighting the dragon, they were annoying it. Like mosquitoes attacking a helicopter. But it worked. The dragon got irritated and dive-bombed them. It opened its jaws and spat a wind blast that vaporized for elf archers instantly. Just gone. Deleted from existence by one attack. Meng Meng's face went pale. At this rate, her entire army would last about 2 minutes. Towing a dragon was really just a polite way of saying, sacrificing your troops as slowly as possible. No time to waste. Flame mages, open fire. My 60 pyromaniacs unleashed a synchronized barrage at another dragon. Fireballs slammed into its body and minus 345, minus 296, minus 256. I frowned. That was way too low. Regular elf archers did 100. My hidden class flame mages should have been doing 10 times that. Something was wrong. Then it clicked. Magic immunity. These dragons had a passive trait that reduced all magical damage by 70%. My flame mages, my beautiful, devastating hidden class artillery, were hitting at barely 30% effectiveness. Their greatest strength had just been kneecapped by dragon genetics. Are you kidding me? I cursed internally but kept attacking. Reduced damage was still damage. It would just take considerably longer. The dragons split up as we lured them. Bingshu took 3. Shinbei took 3. Mingming took 3. And I stared down 11 angry flying lizards the size of buildings. Each dragon had 2 attacks. Dragon Claw, single target, absolutely devastating up close. And Roaring Wind Blast, area attack that wiped out clusters of troops like an eraser on a whiteboard. That second attack was the problem. Every wind blast obliterated groups of my skeleton warriors. My troop count was dropping like a countdown to 0. Most people would have panicked. I did math. The wind blasts were deadly because my troops were packed together. Dense formations meant maximum splash damage. The solution? Don't be dense. I activated the Skull King's cranium and merged all my heavy skeleton warriors into Tier 4 skeleton knights on the spot. 2,000 heavies became 1,000 knights. Half the numbers, but double the mobility. Fewer troops, spread further apart. Every wind blast that used to kill 20 skeletons now hit 3 or 4. I traded raw numbers for speed and spacing. The dragon's AoE went from catastrophic to mildly inconvenient. Bingshu saw what I was doing instantly, because she was brilliant like that, and yelled to the others, "Spread your troops out." Scattered formations reduced the wind blast damage. Shinbei and Mingming copied the strategy immediately. Suddenly, everyone's survival time doubled. Meanwhile, Artoria and Kalen teamed up on one dragon at a time. Focus fire. Kill them one by one instead of spreading damage across all 11. Artoria unleashed Holy Light Triple Slash. 3 blazing strikes carving massive chunks out of the dragon's HP. Kalen followed up with a volley of dark magic bullets. Even with 70% magic resistance, an S-rank hero's raw damage was high enough to still hurt. The first dragon's health bar started visibly shrinking. 11 dragons remaining. My skeleton knights weaving between attacks. Flame mages firing reduced but steady damage. 2 S-rank heroes focusing down targets one at a time. 3 allies burning through their armies just to keep 9 dragons distracted. This wasn't a battle. This was a war of attrition against 20 of the most powerful creatures in the game, fought with bones, fire, and sheer stubborn refusal to lose. And somewhere in the chaos, I caught Bingshu staring at me again. Not at the battle. At me. With those thoughtful, calculating eyes. Yeah, she was definitely starting to believe the reborn thing. Despite having stats equivalent to gold-tier bosses, each dragon was actually manageable for Artoria one-on-one. Kalen had it rougher. 70% magic resistance meant her shadow bullets were hitting like wet noodles instead of missiles. But combined, 2 S-rank heroes plus archers plus flame mages, even at reduced effectiveness, still added up to serious DPS. 2 minutes. That's how long the first dragon lasted. It let out a final screech and plummeted from the sky like the world's angriest green meteorite. Ding! Killed Tier 9 green dragon. Obtained 10 green dragon scales. 19,500 Lord XP, 19,500 Hero XP, 1 down. 19 to go. The whole party felt that kill. Not just the XP, the hope. You could see it on everyone's faces. Holy crap, we can actually do this. Artoria raised the Dawn Sword and popped both buffs, Knight's Spirit and Dawn Battle. Attack speed up, crit rate up, lifesteal up, morale through the roof. My troops went from fighting for survival to let's go. Dragon after dragon came crashing down. The sky was literally raining lizards. Then at 10 dragons remaining, the dungeon pulled a dirty trick. Hundreds of Tier 6 dragon lizards erupted from the forest, swarming us from every direction. Classic distraction play. Hey, stop killing the bosses and deal with these guys instead. Ignore them, I shouted. Keep firing at the dragons. Falling for that trap would have been catastrophic. The lizards were annoying, sure, but the dragons were the real threat. Kill the dragons, the lizards scatter. Get distracted by the lizards, the dragons recover, and we all die. My skeleton knights were dropping fast, from over 1,000 down to 400. But every dead dragon brought us closer to victory, and that math was all that mattered. Crash, another dragon fell. Crash, another. The ground was becoming a dragon graveyard. Finally, the last green dragon exhausted its HP and tumbled from the canopy. The moment it hit the ground, every surviving dragon lizard panicked and fled into the forest like cockroaches when the lights turn on. I exhaled so hard I think my lungs deflated. We actually did it. System, your party has cleared Green Dragon's lair. Rewards, 20 high-tier Lord XP books, 20 high-tier Hero XP books, 500 premium resource chests, 2 random platinum strategic treasure boxes per person. World announcement. The party led by Chinese Lord Bingchu has cleared Green Dragon's lair. Reward, Forbidden Spell Scroll, Wrath of the Green Dragon. Wait, Bingchu got the announcement credit? Because she was party leader? That was actually perfect. Free advertising for her reputation, and I stayed under the radar for once. Win-win. Qin Bei was losing his mind. 2 platinum treasure boxes each. This dungeon is incredible. And all those Hero XP books. My hero's going up at least 2 levels. Mingming pretended to be unimpressed. Obviously the rewards are good. The dungeon was insanely hard. It's proportional, she was lying. Her eyes were sparkling like a kid in a candy store. Open them up, Qin Bei urged. If we get stuff we can't use, we can trade. Lin Yuan picks first, Bingchu said immediately. Obviously, Qin Bei agreed. We literally only survive because of him. I waved them off. You guys go ahead. Platinum gear isn't that important to me anymore. 3 jaws dropped. Platinum wasn't important to him. The rest of them couldn't even complete a gold set, and this guy was treating platinum like thrift store finds. I just want the Forbidden Spell Scroll and the Green Dragon treasure, I said. Deal? Qin Bei said, then paused. Wait, what's the Green Dragon treasure? I smiled. You'll see. They ripped open their treasure boxes. Qin Bei's luck was spectacularly bad. He got a mage robe and an archer bow. Useless for an orc lord. The man looked like someone had canceled his birthday. But then Mingming casually tossed him a black battle axe. Here, this one suits your hero. Qin Bei inspected it. Platinum tier Dark Reaper axe. Massive attack bonus plus an AoE skill called Dark Harvest. Perfect for his minotaur. Mingming, from this day forward, you are my mother. Gross. Give me that twilight robe in exchange. Done. Everyone swapped gear until everybody had something useful. I traded with Bingchu for a pair of flowing cloud boots for Artoria. Nice agility boost. Good passive. Once the loot frenzy settled, I pointed upward at the massive canopy of ancient trees. All right, loot's done. Now for the Green Dragon treasure. Qin Bei looked around. Where is it? I pointed straight up into the treetop sea above us. Up there, everyone tilted their heads back and stared into the enormous green canopy. The same canopy where 20 Tier 9 dragons had been living 5 minutes ago. Whatever was hidden up there, it was worth more than everything we'd already gotten combined. I was sure of it. Time to go treasure hunting. Vertically. To reach the Green Dragon treasure, we had to climb. Straight up. Dozens of meters into the ancient tree canopy. Qin Bei made the mistake of looking down halfway up. This is way too high. His legs were literally shaking. The future beast tribe tyrant, the man who would one day command armies that crushed everything in their path, was afraid of heights. Mingming didn't miss a beat. You're a grown man. It's a game. Even if you fall, you respawn. Bingchu piled on. A girl half your size has more courage than you. I'm allowed to have phobias, he mumbled defensively. The game's too realistic. He wasn't wrong about the realism, though. And what none of them knew, except me, was that in 1 month, death rules would change. 3 lives total. Die 3 times, gone forever. Right now death was cheap. Soon it would be the most expensive thing in the world. But that was a problem for future US. We reached the top of the tree canopy, and it was stunning. The branches were so thick and intertwined that they formed what looked like a flat green landscape floating in the sky. A second floor made entirely of leaves. Treasure chests, Qin Bei screamed, pointing ahead like a golden retriever who'd spotted a tennis ball. 3 emerald green chests, sitting right there in the treetop sea. The green dragon treasure. Since the dungeon was already cleared, nothing attacked us on the way over. We just walked up and opened them. Anticlimactic approach, spectacular contents. Chest 1, green dragon crystal. A gem you embed into armor for 30% magic immunity. Just the gem alone. 30%. One item. Chest 2, green dragon armor. Diamond tier. Let me say that again. Diamond tier. Not gold. Not platinum. Diamond. Probably the first diamond quality strategic treasure in the entire game. Stats. Plus 230 strength, 350 constitution, 170 agility, 500 defense, and 20% built-in magic immunity. Plus an active skill called Green Dragon's Roar. Emits a dragon roar that debuffs all enemies in range with 10 to 35% stat reduction and 20% increased damage taken for 5 minutes. A range-wide debuff on an armor piece that also made the wearer practically immune to magic. Chest 3, Green Dragon Summoning Scroll. Summons 10 Tier 9 green dragons to join your army. 10. Tier 9. Dragons. I stared at this loot, and my brain needed a moment to process. Every single item was game-breaking. The diamond armor plus the crystal? That's 50% magic immunity on one hero. I'd just spent an entire battle watching my flame mages bounce off dragons because of 70% magic resistance. Now I could give Artoria half of that. Every mage hero in the game would look at her and weep. And 10 green dragons? I went into this dungeon terrified of fighting 20 of them. Now 10 were joining my team. Life comes at you fast. What did you get? Shinbei was practically vibrating. Show us. Show us. I shared the item descriptions. 3 people simultaneously choked on air. Diamond? A diamond treasure? Shinbei looked like he might faint. That's not even fair. Bingchu immediately grasped the real power play. If you embed the crystal into the armor, that's 50% magic immunity. Every mage hero becomes completely helpless against whoever wears this. Exactly, I nodded. This goes on Artoria. Before the armor, Artoria and Kalen were roughly equal in power. Different strengths, sure. Kalen had summoning and life drain. Artoria had swordsmanship and buffs, but a fight between them could go either way. After the armor, Artoria would eat mages for breakfast. Kalen's entire kit, dark magic bullets, shadow blades, everything, would bounce off 50% magic immunity like rubber balls off a brick wall. Every mage hero in the game just became Artoria's personal punching bag. I was equipping the world's first diamond armor onto a secret S-rank hero who would eventually reach SSS rank. Sorry, every other player. I didn't make the rules. I just exploited them better than everyone else. We exited the dungeon. The entrance vanished behind us. Unique dungeon. One-time clear. Gone forever. Nobody else would ever get this loot. What's everyone doing next? I asked. Meng, rebuilding my army. Lost too many troops. Bingchu, same. Plus I'll start recruiting your dungeon hunter scouts. God bless this woman. I mentioned the idea once, and she'd been working on it ever since. Employee of the month, every month. Shinbei perked up. Dungeon hunters? What's that? Bingchu looked at me for permission. I nodded. Not a secret. She explained the concept. Professional scout teams that explore the map specifically to find new dungeons and claim first clear rewards. Shinbei's eyes lit up like Christmas. BRO, I'm perfect for that. Let me be your dungeon hunter. Absolutely not, I said. He deflated. Why? Because it's grunt work that pays a few thousand gold per find. You'd waste all your development time wandering the map instead of building your army. You've got potential, Shinbei. Don't waste it being a delivery boy. He blinked. I don't think anyone had ever told him he had potential before. For a second, beneath all the clowning, I saw something real flicker in his eyes. Then it was gone. Okay, fine. I won't be a dungeon hunter. But when you do clear a new dungeon, can you bring me along? He struck a dramatic pose. We'll be the ultimate duo. The boss handles the slaying, and I handle the celebrating. You do the killing, I do the victory dances. I stared at him. You want to come along specifically to celebrate? Somebody has to cheer. You can't just kill a boss in silence. That's depressing. Every hero needs a hype man. I'll be your hype man. Free of charge. Bingchu closed her eyes like she was praying for patience. Ming kicked him again. This ridiculous, height-fearing, self-discounting, loyalty-pledging goofball was going to become one of the most feared warlords on the entire server. The universe had a sense of humor, and apparently, so did my future inner circle. Qinbei was practically begging to join my team, so I figured, why not make it official? I was going to recruit him eventually anyway. Might as well strike while the iron was hot and the puppy was wagging its tail. Qinbei, Mingming, if you two plan on sticking with Bingqiu anyway, I'll offer you both a spot on my team. They both froze like someone had hit the pause button on their brains. Look, I get it. We'd literally just met. One dungeon together, and the most famous lord in the game was handing out team invitations like party favors. From their perspective, this was like a random coworker introducing you to the CEO and the CEO saying, "You're hired." Truth was, I mainly wanted Qinbei for his future potential. The guy was destined to become the beast tribe tyrant. Mingming was a bonus, a buy one get one free situation. No strong memories of her from my past life, but she seemed competent enough. Am I in? Qinbei screamed before his brain even finished processing. And me too, Mingming followed. Qinbei grinned like he'd won the lottery. So boss, how big is the team? There must be tons of powerful people already, right? I counted on my fingers. Before today, just me and Bingqiu. Now with you too. That's 4. Oh, and my butler, but he hasn't entered the game yet. Qinbei's face went through about 7 emotions in 2 seconds. I'm an original member? A founding father? Yes, Qinbei. My terrifying organization currently has the headcount of a small book club. Congratulations on your senior position. Since you're officially joining, here's a welcome gift. I pulled 2 items from my bag. From Mingming, a platinum tier staff called Pure White Dream, perfect for elf mages. Her eyes went wide and she bowed politely. Thank you, boss. For Qinbei, I handed him the orc chieftain recruitment token. He looked at it. Read the description. Then his eyes went so wide they nearly achieved escape velocity from his skull. This is an S-rank hero token. Every head in the group snapped toward us. Bingqiu and Mingming stared at me like I'd casually handed someone the keys to a Ferrari. It recruits the orc chieftain, I explained. Got it from clearing hell mode, orc camp. Honestly, he's mid-tier for an S rank, and he doesn't fit my build. But for a beast race lord like you, perfect match. On the open market, this token would sell for tens of millions. Tens of millions. And there would still be a bidding war. S-rank heroes were the rarest commodity in the entire game. And I just gave one away like handing someone a stick of gum. Qinbei looked like he was about to either cry or propose to me. Possibly both. Boss, I won't say anything fancy. From today forward, whatever you need, I'm there. No questions. No hesitation. The goofball was dead serious for once. Good. An S-rank hero token was expensive, but buying the eternal loyalty of a future top-tier warlord? That was a bargain. Then Qinbei pulled something from his own bag, a rolled-up piece of parchment. Boss, you gave me something incredible, so I can't be cheap either. This is the only valuable thing I own. He handed me a leather map. Old, hand-drawn, covered in strange markings. What's this? Some kind of treasure map, I think. I got it from a goblin merchant I found in the woods. Little green dude was selling stuff, but everything he sold me was garbage. Total scam artist. So I had my orcs beat him up. Classic Qinbei problem solving. Diplomacy failed, try violence. The goblin begged for mercy and offered me this map to save his life. No idea what it leads to, but it looks like a treasure map. It's the best thing I've got, so welcome gift for the boss. I almost dismissed it as junk. Almost. Then a memory hit me like a freight train. In my past life, I'd heard about this goblin merchant encounter. Another lord had found the same goblin in a forest, got scammed the same way, beat it up the same way. But that lord got a platinum tier treasure instead of a map, which meant the goblin's loot was random. That lord got equipment. Qinbei got a map, a mysterious treasure map from a hidden NPC encounter that I'd never seen before. Not in my past life. Not in any guide or forum. Something completely new. I stared at the parchment, my reborn brain running at full speed trying to figure out what this could be. Whatever was at the end of this map, nobody in either timeline had ever found it. And now it was in my hands. Qinbei stood there, sheepishly rubbing his head, thinking he'd given me some worthless scrap of paper as a gift. Little did he know, this might be the most valuable thing anyone had ever handed me. The universe works in mysterious ways. Sometimes you invest an S-rank hero into a goofball, and the goofball accidentally hands you a treasure map to something that might change everything. Best trade deal in history. Possibly.